We are here at O'Leary's Go-Kart in Kista Mall here in Sweden, and we're here to have a little friendly competition amongst our talent. We are going to do, as you guessed it, go-karting. It's very simple, Fogged. Are you familiar with driving?
Somewhat.
Somewhat. That inspires confidence. You're a British person. I'm sure you watch Drive to Survive and all that Formula One stuff, right?
Big Top Gear fan. Got my license 3 years ago, never touched a car since. So I might kill someone accidentally today.
I'm encouraged. Suns fan. You're American. You drive, right?
That's right. Unlike Cinder, and I have driven a car, so I have some experience. I think my weight might be the anchor, though. We'll see how much it affects the actual go-karts themselves.
Closest to the ground.
Yeah, exactly. Perhaps somewhat less aerodynamic, but it's okay. First 4 minutes, we're going to do a little warm-up. Get used to the track, figure things out. After that, all four of us head-to-head. Gentlemen, are you ready?
Ready as I'll ever be.
Great.
Yes.
Start your engines, friends.
We need a medium, pretty decent size. Yep. I'm 22. You're not 26.
I'm 23.
Yeah, that's back there, boss. You're behind me.
Oh.
Oh, God. I am too f***ing fat for this.
Ooh, I'm kind of nervous, guys.
You're going to be fine, Jonas.
I'm nervous.
You're fine.
All right. You ready?
I'm ready.
Yeah.
Sorry. I was testing. Go. I was testing.
Yes! Get out of here!
Get your leg off!
Illegal!
Yo, Neil's a pro.
Get the f*** out of here!
I got this.
This thing is something.
Oh, your ass shit? No, get out of here! Get out of here! I'm trying pretty hard not to crash.
No! I was doing so well!
These are pretty awesome.
I panicked. Bro, I spun it like 3, 4, 12 times.
That was just a warm-up.
Oh.
No such thing.
This is awesome.
Very awesome.
I spun way too much in qualifying.
Left turns, baby.
Oh, I'm ready. 15 laps between me and Destiny.
It doesn't matter whether you win by an inch or a mile. Winning is winning.
All my brothers. Ride or die.
Get the f*** out of the way. What is this whole Get out of the way! British drivers, man. What is this? Awful driving. Awful driving. Get out of the way!
Out of the way, Grandma!
Right behind you, buddy. What is it? Get out of here!
Sucker!
Every time.
Oh, that's an expensive turn, Yannis!
Ah, that's how you do it. I'm rebranding to T-Spin a lot.
Let's go! Let's go!
Come here, boys. Get in here.
Yeah.
Shannon, you too.
Come on,
Come on, buddy.
We're all winners today.
Yeah! Woo!
How's he the same height as us still? We're so small.
Yay!
You got a rhythm in your heart. You got a rebel in your soul. Come on and give it all you got. Let the good times roll. We take it up. Let's lose control. We turn it up and let the good times roll. We at the top. We're invincible. We're never gonna stop. So let the good times roll. Yeah, 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 yeah. Let the good times roll. Yeah, 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 yeah. Let the good times roll. Yeah. You got a fire in your eyes. Are you ready to let go? Yeah, keep on dancing through the night. Let the good times roll. Make the rules and break them too. Feel the beat and let it loose. When we walk in, we own the room. Do whatever we wanna do. We take it up. Let's lose control. We turn it up and let the good times roll. We at the top. We're invincible. We're never gonna stop. So let the good times roll. Yeah, 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 yeah. Let the good times roll. Yeah, 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 yeah. Let the good times roll. Yeah.
Everything we touch is lighting up. Once we get started, you should know we never stop. From A to B, yeah, we don't walk, we strut. And we got lightning in our veins, that's why you struck.
Yeah, we're what everybody wants. You can never taste of what we got. Keep on dancing till the music's gone. Yeah, we're what everybody wants. You can never taste of what we got. Keep on dancing till the music's gone. We're doing it right, one of a kind. We're ready to fly all of the time, feeling so fine. I'm loving my life, yeah. Can't ever get high enough. No, we never stop climbing up. We're doing it right, one of a kind. We're ready.
Where the hell is that sound coming from? We have a host?
Sounds like a wild boar.
It's not me. It's the. Wake up! Get out of here. Get out. Terrifying.
What want? Oh, we're here to do Dota. Of course. Oh, Tsunami and Sunspan. How are you chaps doing? Sorry, I was just sleeping. I don't know if I was making any noise in there or putting anybody else off or anything like that?
No. I think you were giving the proper atmosphere for such an intense series coming up.
Oh, baby.
Gaimin Gladiators versus Tundra.
Yes, indeed. I haven't seen these lads playing since the major, so I'm looking forward to it. I thought Gaimin Gladiators looked pretty bloody good at the major. We actually had, let me think, we had Celery and Duraccio on the panel at one point and chat to them. Lovely lads, very smart, know a lot about Dota. But I remember talking to someone. They seem to have suffered a little bit from the patch, because I know their whole thing seemed to be, certainly in the games where they really crushed it, seemed to be Celery and Chantress winning the lane.
Yep.
And then nobody had a chance against it, and people having to ban it and everything like that. I can't remember what his other hero there was another hero that he played. It was a very similar lane winner. And then they got nerfed a bit, and it was like, oh, what do we do now? So would you say they've suffered a little bit from that?
Yeah, I think even in some of the interviews that we did with them, it did seem that they were a little bit more patch dependent than they were expecting to be. Whereas Tundra were more amenable to the changes. They recovered a lot more quickly. Maybe, having AUI as a coach means that you can adjust.
I mean, we always talk about what a difference that makes, having a good coach. It's something I firmly believe in. I mean, I don't know if we can talk about Alliance and their coach when they had
Peter Pan down.
PPD. They looked a different team. It does matter, I think. But yeah, AOI is that guy who can break Dota wide open. Wow. Shannon, how's it going with you?
I'm not supposed to be here.
Oh, okay. Sorry. He's just holding an umbrella.
Literally the furniture.
What is this a shot of? Oh, you can just see his face under
a profile picture.
Profile shot.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Anything else you would like to know about these teams?
How have Tundra been doing this season? They're not at the top of the group, are they?
No, but they're second. And depending on how tomorrow goes with Liquid versus OG, maybe they could end up near the top.
Because OG are top, right?
OG are top.
Yeah.
And I think that expectations for Tundra were equally high. I know that they themselves were very critical of their performance at the major. Obviously, nothing to be ashamed of with top 3 finish. You'd think that would be more than satisfactory for most people, but Snaking is very self-critical. He was hoping to improve, and same thing with Gaimin Gladiators. They famously gave in the interview, played like heralds on LAN, but otherwise online they're great, and trying to focus on the mental aspect for both these teams. We'll see how it goes down for Gaimin Gladiators. Already out of major contention. Right now, they're hoping not to be in relegation contention.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Well, I remember one of the nicest and probably one of the best looking Dota players around was Tofu.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and we got a little video that he features in. So check this out.
Obviously, Gaimin Gladiators are a strong team. They ended 4th on major, right? Very strong performance by them, and they have been like sort of up and coming team for the last like season and a half, I would say.
Well, that would have been sad if that never actually came up.
Yeah, we got lucky. Yeah, that's the
thanks, Secret.
Yeah.
Oh, snowball into the Walrus Punch, and they have the burst damage. Crystal is dead in the blink of an eye, and you can see Secret want to try to get Duraccio to get a bit of a trade, and they'll find him. So 1 for 1, but this is turning into a good one.
They're a very scary team. They have their own very unique playstyle, and it's very scary because you rarely get to play against such teams as them. They're actually a team where you need to do like more extensive preparation, I would say. The way honestly I see our games against Gladiators is like it's gonna be stomp. Like the first 10 minutes is like super decisive. The way they play, they can break or win in those 10 minutes.
Toby's in trouble. He's gone. They just can't save anybody. Katomi, he's not able to get in range over and over again this time around. They just die way too fast.
I mean, Tundra, they could look to jump for more. 9. He's charging up to the high ground. He's ready to look for more action.
It's been a really long time since we played Tundra. Like, we didn't play against them at all at last major, and they were looking extremely good throughout the whole tournament. They struggled a bit in like the last final matches, but that happens, and it's also stage pressure and experience. But they've been looking really good this season, and I think their playstyle and player individually are really good. So it's going to be a tough match for sure, but it depends more on how we play, I think. And if we can show our best, I'm sure we can beat them.
If they show up and play their best, I believe they can beat them. Shannon, would you join us in sitting down? I feel bad just making you stand there.
You're not making me do anything, Pyrian. There's a reason I'm standing. I don't think this will support me.
Oh, I see.
This little dinky chair.
Look, if it supports me, it can support you, I'm pretty sure.
This is engineered for European bodies. I don't
So
know.
the thing is,
could be.
okay, I'm making a conscious choice. Okay,
Yeah.
it's a couple things here. First, standing is good exercise.
True, yeah,
okay?
yeah.
Second, if I do end up sitting here, I also need to cast, which means I need to get up at some point, which will be a painful process.
Agreed,
so this is just
yeah.
easier for everybody, I think.
Yeah, I regretted it as soon as I chose sitting in these because these are not good. You've got to make a lot of old person grunting noises.
I mean, I do that. Yeah, I do that just getting up from a normal couch.
Right,
So you
same,
can imagine.
yeah. Bending over to pick anything up off the ground, you're making the noises.
That's right.
I enjoyed the go-kart vid with you guys.
Oh, thank you.
But Shannon said he won the qualifying.
That's right. I won. They cheated.
Revisionist history.
Yeah, I didn't catch that he'd won.
They cheated. So we did 2 test laps. By laps, it wasn't just like 1 lap, but 2 test sessions, let's say.
Correct.
And I was crushing it, regardless of what Tsunami may say.
Right, but let me just give you guys at home some clarity here. So I don't know if Shannon knows how qualifying laps work, because you don't all start on a grid. You it's spaced out. So someone goes, and then they wait a bit, and then they let the next person go. And the idea is that you get a free run around the track to see how fast you could do it.
Correct.
With no competition. If you watch Formula One, you see the same thing. I think he thought this was a race, and he was like, no one overtook me.
That's right.
And Neil was like, it's the qualifying laps.
Nobody overtook me.
There is no overtooking.
And I'm sure if they took the average time per lap, I would be the winner. And the other thing that I'm not mentioning, but I'm going to now because it seems like you're poking holes in my argument. I was a sweaty, disgusting mess after those 2
Oh, it's hard work.
I expended all my energy going into the actual race, where it would have been better for me to just sit out the practice race.
Save your energy.
I threw for content strategically during the warm-up because I knew that when it comes to race time, I'm a pure competitor.
But Fogged won, didn't he?
Well, I mean, how much fogged dialogue did you see in that content feast?
Well, I think he was just focused on the race.
That's what I'm saying. We're doing this for fun. We're doing this for entertainment.
Oh, so he was a tryhard.
He was a tryhard. Where's the actual camaraderie? Where's the bonding experience? Spin out a little bit.
Yeah,
have a little
some fun. But
That's
no.
what I'm saying.
You know how the tortoise and the hare story?
Yeah.
I'm familiar.
I'm the tortoise.
Okay, but the tortoise won.
I didn't spin at any point. Well, I'm claiming that I did win. So there's a little bit of revisionist history, like you said, but on the other side this time. Didn't spin out 1 time.
Okay.
I mean,
slow and steady.
I don't think you had enough speed to even physically have a spin out at any point.
Incorrect.
Well, if you guys want to spin out at home, guess what? The reason that Shannon's here is, of course, we weren't able to get in touch with Effie. I think she had a power cut, but I believe she's now available on the line, and we can ask her about that. Effie, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
It's her! How
you
are
show up to work.
Hi.
Look at me expending all this energy, holding an umbrella, saying very important things.
You can leave now.
Can I actually leave?
No, I think you
Thank
could go and
you.
sit down. Yeah, we've got
Thank you,
Mira
Samson.
back. So.
I appreciate you standing in for me with your nice umbrella.
Thank you. Hopefully this game is not a Gaimin's umbrella, though.
Oh my gosh, that would have been the true...
Good day.
So, Mira, what happened? Your power went out?
Yeah, it just went out, so I called the super. It's like, I need 15 minutes. I don't understand this stuff. There's something with like the fuse box. So.
Oh, yeah. Popped a fuse. What were you guys doing that caused the fuse to pop? Because it's always your fault. It's someone's fault. Who's to blame here?
Is that? Well, it wasn't my fault. I wasn't doing anything.
Were you running?
Yeah, the air conditioning was.
Were you running AC, dishwasher, washing machine, tumble dryer, and a hardcore gaming PC all at once?
Well, my air conditioning is on, but I don't know about all that other stuff.
Yeah, it's clearly your fault.
I was honestly just like sitting down. Just, waiting
expending
for
huge amounts of electricity.
Of course.
Listen, I live with a big family. Like, I live with my family. I'm sure they're all up to something.
That's true.
But now.
Well, you're here just in time, Mira, because we actually have a draft for this game, Tundra against Game Gladiators. So let's dive in. Whoosh, sploosh. There it is.
I gave a few.
I'm glad I made it back for the draft.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Actually, I would have really enjoyed the you and Neil and Samson panel.
I would not have enjoyed that, nor would any of the viewers. We're all very grateful that you're here.
Last season I was here, a lot of my panels were me, Shannon, and Jenkins.
Oh, Jesus.
So I just loved it. It was great. I didn't have to do anything.
Was that North America?
That was for
last
NA, yeah. So it
tour?
was like the last series of the day. Me, Shannon, Jenkins. It was a lot of fun. Oh, so there's that Enchantress ban. That's still worth banning against them for sure.
So, have you guys talked about the importance of the series for Gladiators?
I believe we did, but if you wish to, I might have got it wrong,
No.
so go ahead.
No, I'm sure you got it right.
No, I can't remember.
You gotta have the thing
What I'm
right.
saying is I can't
Uncle
remember, so
Ted.
please reiterate.
Unky Teddy.
Uncle
No,
Ted
it's
is
just
asking
that.
you to do it, Mira, so please you have to do it.
No, it's just Goon Squad is 2-5 after their series today. So if Gaming Gladiators drops this one, they'll also be 2-5, and we'll have to play tiebreakers for relegation. So
Gosh.
if they can just win this one, which actually, I know they haven't looked the best, but surprisingly, well, not surprisingly, it's just that in this matchup in particular, through the last 2 tours, Gladiators beats Tundra. Historically. So it's interesting. I wonder if they will still be able to do that, or if...
I suppose the question is this
Still
the
gonna be
same game in
shaky.
Gladiators that was doing that? Like, that's the thing. Like Neil
Yeah.
said, that they had said, well, we feel like the patch hit us harder than we expected it to.
Yeah, and
I think they are struggling with this patch, honestly. So even if they do have like historical data versus Tundra,
Right.
I don't think that the gameplay is quite there yet, but I hope to be surprised because Gladiators is a really fun team to watch when
I agree.
they have their shit together.
That room has its shit together. Look at that. That's
I always praise Tofu for his interior design.
really, I'd say of all the player cams, the one that actually looks like a human being lives there. It's
Agreed.
really, really nice to see. That's not a good color for walls for Celery there, I've got to say. It's too much. And then to put a blue picture on a blue wall, I love analyzing this. It's so unfair. And it's really unkind. And it's probably not even their house, but I can't help myself.
And is their interior design. And also we can extol the importance of Tundra winning this, like we said. It's them against OG at the top of the top. They're both already qualified for the major, but in terms of points, OG is already very, very secure for TI. Tundra's still in the mix. Like, if they don't do well at the major, but they managed to scoop up just a few more points between first and second place here in this own DPC league, then maybe they can make it to TI off the points as well. But it's not guaranteed yet. Even getting first here won't guarantee it, but every little bit will count depending on how teams do at the major.
Now, when people talk about
Absolutely.
that, like, sorry, Merit, when people talk about that, how hard it is, we need more points to be sure and all the rest of it, that would also then depend on all the teams below you suddenly doing amazingly well. And they can't all, because obviously they couldn't all win the major, or...
Yes, but the previous major was also extremely Western Europe heavy. And so, like, 3 out of the top 4 were Western Europe, and then lone TSM as the NA representative. Southeast Asia didn't get to show up. China obviously didn't get to show up because they didn't even attend the major. And South America also did not really put very many points on the board. Now in a second major, where the points are inflated because each of the majors and each of the leagues increased in points as we get closer to TI, now maybe they need to do better, but also there's just a lot more points on the line.
So what do you guys think? Mira, I'll ask you this question. What do you think about the fact that the points go up as we get closer to TI? Don't you think that kind of devalues the leagues and the tournaments in the earlier part of the season, or do you think that's fair?
I think... I mean, I guess on paper I wouldn't necessarily call it fair, but I do think the way that you play before TI should mean more than the way that you play like 8 months before TI, to be
I think
completely
that's
honest.
fair, because we see a lot of teams do that, don't we? Where they're amazing at the start of the season, then TI comes around and they're belly flopping all over the place.
Because obviously TI is like this grand celebration of Dota. You want the best teams at their best form. So the best way to ensure that, I guess, as a publisher, is to make the way that you play in like the patch before TI be most valuable. So I do understand it. It's unfair in the sense that if you worked super hard in the first tour, it doesn't mean as much. But at the same time, for the nature of the competition that TI is, it makes sense. So
Okay, no,
I don't have any complaints.
I'm just playing devil's
But, yeah,
advocate,
as
asking the question.
But as far as the opening goes, Tundra do something a little bit different with their Tiny Zeus first phase. So this first phase Tiny is something that a lot of teams have been doing when they leave puck in the pool, right? Because normally this Puck, you have to address it in the first phase, but they choose to target ban Gladiators, Enchantress, and the Mercy, which is understandably so. And you can just pick this Tiny for yourself. It's a highly flexible hero, but by having it in that first phase, you make sure that you have a way to deal with Puck throughout the game. Whether or not you want to lane this hero mid, whether or not you want to lane it as a 4, it's just, its toolkit is very, very good in killing the hero. And yeah, Zeus talked about a million times. Gladiators get the Dawnbreaker and Puck, which is just a tried and true combination at this point. You've got the Dream Coil into the Solar Guardian, and you have the strong side lanes of the Dawnbreaker. Do you want to take the second phase, Neil, or should I?
Sure. Mainly,
I don't want to talk too much.
my main thing is the thing that we talked about at the beginning, Ted, which is Gaimin Gladiators feel a little bit outdated with some of their picks. Crystal Maiden feels outdated. That was a week 1 of the DPC kind of thing before the D patch dropped. It looked fantastic, and everyone wasn't even really picking it that much at the major. It was kind of trending in between Stockholm ending and the DPC picking up. D patch rolls around, and she didn't really get hit, but it's just other heroes started trending much more with all the salve nerfs and stuff like that. People were just like, I would much rather have a support that could heal. Whereas in the major, it was more like, I want a support that can give mana, which is why Pugna was so popular, Coddle was so popular.
But also, those were then paired with Storm Spirit.
Yeah, also true.
Storm Spirit, because of the null tally nerf, seems to have dropped off a wee bit,
which they pick up
been replaced by Puck.
Yeah, and they pick up another hero that can benefit from a mana battery with Bristleback, but it's always just the support focus that kind of has me a little bit wary. And
I'll be honest with you, CM's Arcane Aura can do one. It's the most underwhelming piece of crap. It's rubbish. It's rubbish.
I don't know, Mira.
Hardly any.
You think it's that bad?
The CM Aura?
Yeah.
I think it's a good aura for CM. I mean,
but
honestly,
not her team.
No, it's decent for her team by the time that it's maxed out, right? But I think CM's strengths, her strengths are in her early game powers, her spammable spells, her skirmishes in that 10-minute part of the game, right? So to do that, you want to max out your nukes before you max out your auras.
Exactly, that's the problem.
It's not. No, you're actually right about that, Ted. But while Neil is right that CM has fallen from popularity, I do think she's still a very good hero in the sense that Gladiators want to play. Like, they want to play to win their side lanes. And if they have Dawn on one lane and CM on the other, those are secure side lanes. These heroes are powerful. Like, CM's biggest strength is her leading phase. Afterwards, she's just kind of slow. She doesn't roam around as well as other support heroes. She dies quite easily. But those first 10 minutes are ultra aggressive. So if you pair her up with something like a Bristleback and that lane goes well, that's all they need her to do, basically.
Nice.
So Tundra's response to this actually is picking the Death Prophet, who I'm going to assume this is the offlaner. It just makes the most sense. Like, between DP and Tiny, you do want to put the Tiny mid versus Puck, if that's something that they're considering. Of course, there's always the potential for it is Tundra for a mid Wyvern or a mid Zeus. But with those assumptions, the Death Prophet Spirit Siphon, by the time that it's level 3 or something, is really effective versus Bristleback. Like, it is a way to push him out of the lane earlier than he would like to be.
My one of the guys I play Dota with the most, Ashwin, he plays a lot of mid Wyvern and insists that this hero is absolutely bustedly good mid. So Tundra do run it. Why not here? It seems super strong.
Well, you just need the Tiny to get his early Blink Dagger, right? Like, you on paper could do it, but it would just be my preference to have the Tiny versus the Puck, because you see the Puck already. Also, this Wyvern was picked out mostly as a counter-initiate type of hero to the Dawnbreaker Solar Guardian, right? This is a very strong counter in the sense that when Dawn ults in to save somebody or to potentially help set up a kill with Puck, you just got the Wyvern curse. Yeah. And it's a good way to reset. It's a good way to potentially get a fast kill if a support's in the Solar Guardian, things like that. So while it is cool, because I can fuck with it. Basically, I don't know how to say that.
Let's go.
But because the Arctic Burn is also a really good spell versus Bristleback, right? You've got the percentage-based damage now coming out of Siphon, and you've got it coming from the Wyvern spell versus Bristle and Dawn. Like, it's good versus both of these heroes. And you also have percentage-based damage coming out of the Zeus Shard. So there are lots of ways to deal with these tanky type heroes like Bristleback.
The way you said I can fuck with it, it kind of implied you couldn't think of another way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, how do you...
There's a lot going in the favor of the support Wyvern.
it.
Because I think if Wyvern is in the mix the entire time, Arctic Burning, all these tanky cores, then I agree that her value as being the counter-initiate against Solar Guardian goes down. Because you always know where the Wyvern is. And that's something that Dawnbreaker needs to be stressed out about against the support Wyvern. It's like, can I Solar Guardian here? If I go down, am I going to kill my Crystal Maiden or am I going to save her whenever I drop down?
Right.
And also, I do think that Tiny does benefit a lot from a quick dagger this game, as opposed to shoving it down to a support role, because Maiden is going to be food for a Tiny, and then being able to get tossbacks on a Bristle, we see so many times repositioning Bristle to be the best solution for him. We see these Tusk Walrus kicks be a good solution. We see, like Venge swaps on occasion. Forcing Bristle to be away from his team is oftentimes the best way to deal with the hero.
I agree. I think Tundra are going to look towards Skeeter's hero in the last phase, because I generally don't see this being a core Tiny, but they need this hero to potentially be able to buy the Silver Edge. I mean, I assume Tiny can buy it later for his team, but if it's something that the carry can build for itself too, that would be really, really helpful with playing around this Bristleback, because we did mention that Tundra do have a lot of ways to deal damage to Bristle with their percentage-based damage. So it's still not enough. This hero is just absurdly strong, and it hits such a good timing around that minute 15-20 when he gets that Ags. It's really difficult to play around. Also, once a Bristleback gets that Ags, they start to look towards Roche on that team, and you need some form of Roche control or Roche fighting. I could see that with Bloodseeker, actually, with the Bloodright and Roche, the ability to rupture Bristleback and just have him stand in place, because this hero needs to run in to do his damage.
Oh, it's going to be mid-Zeus, actually, as opposed to the mid-Wyvern or mid-Tiny.
Okay, to be honest, I like this a little bit less, because Tundra does excel, of course, at these run-at-you lineups, but they really don't have any stuns. Their only stun is Tiny, and they're going to be dependent on Tiny having a good timing to be able to make that play, in particular around the Roche that I was talking about when Bristle hits his timing. So it's a little bit more difficult to execute, but you do guarantee an early Nimbus and a good lane for Zeus when you put him mid.
Yeah, I'm also not enthusiastic about the lack of disable. I guess making a Bristleback not be willing to move around if he's ruptured is like a informal kind of disable, but at a certain point, Bristleback hits the critical mass that he'll just run through the rupture.
He does not care.
He does not care.
Yeah. So you're liking
I'm worried about
GG's?
I'm liking GG's a little. I mean, I would have liked Tundra's draft. It's just I don't really like the roles that they've selected for their heroes. I like all their heroes, but I think giving Zeus the core was my least preferable of the options.
Certainly neither of you seem to think that was what they were up to either, so...
I mean, nine has played it a ton, so it's not outside of the box.
Of course.
Given the situation of being against a core Bristle, maybe not my ideal option, but also I'm bad at Dota. So, what do I know?
Mira, which draft do you fancy here and why?
So, I mean, overall, I like Tundra's draft. I think there's a lot of potential for aggression. My biggest concern is just their ability to kill this puck early on. I don't think, they do have tiny avalanche into DP silence, but Gladiators' conditions for winning are winning the lanes and just being able to play on Bristle's timing. So there's going to be a scary part for Tundra, around that minute 20. So I'm just going to watch towards that, because I think Gladiators have a shot with this draft.
Okay, well, we'll find out. And to guide us through the game, of course, is Shannon, joined by, I believe, Purge. Take it away, chaps.
Purge, I'm covering you again. Sorry, wrong side. I didn't bring it this time. Let me just... I hope you've had your Wheaties with bacon this morning for you.
I did, yeah. Yep.
Do you eat bacon with your Wheaties? Why would you do that?
I do not. It doesn't come in the box. Otherwise, I would. It's too much effort.
Dried bacon? No, that would be. You could get bacon
Dried
bits.
Bacon.
That's for dogs. I'm sure your dog enjoys that from time to time.
It's very important that when you're trying to buy bacon bits, that you read the label. Sometimes they will spell it like BAC''N because it's not actually bacon. It's just some kind of imitation something.
So it's like a Taco Bell for dogs,
guys.
Right?
Yes, basically, yes.
Okay.
It's not definitely not 100% bacon. That is for damn sure.
All right, great.
But it looks like it, and it smells sort of like it.
Right, but I do think that Duracio's Bristleback is more bacon-like than the bacon bits that we're discussing, as this hero
for sure.
is very strong.
You could easily
right now.
sell him as bacon, and most definitely not have to change the word.
Yeah, but I think it's probably a tougher meat to get through because of that bristleback passive that he has, right?
Well, naturally, you definitely don't include that part of him. You can't include the back because it's 40% damage reduction. That's hard to chew. And the side as well. You just have to throw that in the garbage. 20% damage reduction from your chewing. That's You got to go for the nice underbelly, that bacon stuff, you know?
Okay, yeah, underbelly does sound quite good as the game is underway. Now, Tundra versus Gaimin Gladiators. Gaimin Gladiators are in dire need of a victory, as if they do get a victory, then they stay Div 1. If they lose, then there's going to be a tiebreaker to see who ends up going down to Div 2. Well, Tundra, they've already qualified for TI, they've qualified for the Major. The ranking of the actual DPC matters to a degree, but I would say that Gaimin Gladiators, there's a lot more on the line for this series.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And speaking of on the line, they're going to do some desperate, dare I say, beginning of the trialing, trying to zone 3-3 here. And Tundra is reading it a bit. They're playing kind of safe here.
Okay.
Already gave 3-3 a tango, expecting him to have to beat up Celery here. But yeah, he's not even going to approach the creep wave until Tofu shows. And on the top lane, that hasn't happened yet. So Ace getting a little zoned by snaking. And until they see Tofu, they just don't care. They don't want to give first blood here.
Yeah, playing a little bit careful as Ace taking some harassment in the top lane now. But, I mean, overall, looking at the lineups, do you see anything that you love or hate, or is this basically an even game looking at the draft alone?
Yeah, what they pointed out on the panel is very accurate. They do have some disable problems that they're going to have to deal with, and that's kind of tough. But they also have 2 sources of percentage-based damage, which is quite good against the tanky lineup. The Death Prophet's got Spirit Siphon, and Zeus will eventually have his passive. 3-3 in trouble, though.
Yep, he is definitely dead. We'll go down the right clicks of Dyrachyo. So first blood for the Bristleback, who has kind of been, I want to say, the hero of the last few weeks. It feels like it's being picked anytime it's available.
Yeah.
Have you felt like this is the carry right now?
It is really, really good for sure because it lanes well and it also scales really well too. And it does a nice mix of like being survivable and also like you don't really have to buy BKB on the hero, for example, so you don't have to worry about timings as much. You're pretty much good to go all the time. He did go for Goo level 1. He's been using it really well here against Tiny. Look at this minus armor.
Yep.
Minus 6.5.
Sox is in a lot of trouble. Gets off the avalanche, but Dyrachyo, a nice job of turning around. So Tofu should be able to get this for himself. So 2 kills already for Gaimin Gladiators as Skeeter will find the first for Tundra in the top lane. So Ace, obviously, like you said, in a 2v1, it's kind of expected at a certain point.
Yep, that's going to be the offset. It's very important that they do get kills on Ace while they're getting kind of smashed here in their off lane. But yeah, that Goo level 1 pickup, not super common, but it's a great skill. It's minus 3.5 armor at level 1, slows by 15%, slows an extra 3% every extra stack with an extra negative 1.5 armor. With 3 heroes hitting somebody, that minus armor is incredibly good. If you just had Quill Spray there, they don't get those kills, and they don't pressure the lane nearly as well. So that was really cool.
Ace getting some help in the form of Tofu, but Tofu's going to be the one that ends up dropping here. They almost got Snake King, but the Fairy Fire kept him alive. So trying to salvage this lane to a degree. So really hard to tell now that the musical chairs have kind of ended for the time being, which, like, would you rather be in Gaimin Gladiators' shoes at the moment because of the Bristle start, or would you rather be the Bloodseeker?
I mean, what you're basically trading is both offlaners are behind and both carries are ahead. So which one is better for your squad? Bristle being ahead is pretty sick. Having your Death Prophet behind feels a little bit bad to me on the Tundra side. And having Night Stalker be behind also kind of hurts because Night Stalker should be really effective against the Tundra squad. Death Prophet's probably still fine despite being behind net worth, whereas Night Stalker is kind of a hero that's tempo based. Like if he gets really far behind, he just can't really be as aggressive and as effective. So in some ways I kind of think that I don't know, it's probably a little better for Tundra, but it's pretty even.
Bottom lane, 33 is going to get gone on, but he does have that Spirit Siphon percentage-based damage that you were talking about, so that's going to force Dyrachyo back a bit as 33 getting a little bit more healthy. 3 stacks of goo on him currently as another nuke comes out from Celery. And, I mean, looking at the mid lane, 29-3 for the puck. And on the other side, Mr. 9 playing Zeus, 22-2. I mean, Zeus has been this hero that I want to say 80% of the time it feels like, at least the games that I've cast, is the support. So this time opting to go mid. Your thoughts on that for this specific game?
I think it'll be fine for them. I mean, maybe the support would have been a little bit more effective in some ways, because then you would have had like a more powerful Dawnbreaker or something like that. But more powerful like Winter Wyvern core instead of a support. There's upsides to that, certainly, but in the same vein, like Nine's going to hit a much stronger timing. He's going to be way more survivable. If you're playing like support Zeus against Night Stalker, that can really suck sometimes, because as soon as Night Stalker gets on top of you with silence, you're kind of just screwed. You can't jump away. So I've definitely seen some games where Night Stalker really abuses the support Zeus, whereas if you're mid Zeus, much more likely to be able to deal with that due to you having more net worth. So.
Celery, he's going to get tossed back after the avalanche as Duracho trying to help him out, but the double kill from Nine's ult, that is huge for Tundra. Holy jeez.
I just watched him tick over to 6, and I was like, oh, I wonder if he's going to use that. I look bottom, there's that fight. Perfect there. Catches both of them. He doesn't get that much experience from it. I thought it would be a little bit more, but hey, the extra gold is going to accelerate him a little faster towards the arcane boots, which means that his lane becomes even better. And yeah, his last hits are quite a bit lower than Puck's right now, but this is just because Puck gets to abuse the small camp so much these days. You walk up to a creep that you're about to nuke anyways, you nuke it towards your small camp, and you basically just clean those up for free without having to even leave your lane.
Yeah, Snake King gets dropped in the top lane in the meantime here as Soxa going for another toss play, but he's going to toss the catapult instead. As Ace getting chased by Skeeter gets slowed to a degree thanks to the hammer and the void, and you can see Boom coming in. Nicely timed ultimate, and this would be a nice cleanup for Gaimin Gladiators. You can see the Night Stalker just sticking around for that extra XP and a little bit of payback for Gaimin Gladiators.
Cool. I thought he was dead for sure, but not quite enough rundown there, even with the phase boots on the Bloodseeker. So. Good escape for Night Stalker and a great rotation. And he gets back to the mid lane as the catapult gets there too, so he doesn't even lose that much. Continues to abuse the orb on the mid wave and the small camp. So everything going really solid for Gladiators right now, but the game's still very, very even.
Yep,
Arcane Boots finished for Zeus.
Duracho picks up his Vanguard, which isn't going to help too much against 33. In fact, it helps do more damage, if anything, with the Spirit Siphon. I feel like we've seen the exact same build almost every game. Sometimes there's a Hood instead of a Vanguard, but Vanguard into Ags pretty much right off the bat. You're expecting similar things, I assume.
Yeah, he's going to probably need a Hood this game due to the Zeus and the Spirit Siphon damage. It's just too much magic. But a lot of cases, you just get the Vanguard because it's good enough, right? Vanguard is good against magic damage and physical in the sense that it gives you more HP, you know? So it's like, yeah, I could buy a Hood, but I'd have 250 less HP, that kind of a thing. But he's really going to need some magic resistance later on, even if it's just something like a Cloak. You usually don't want to spend too much on it, though, because then it delays your Ag Scepter, and that makes your timing a lot worse. But I think in this game setup, when they have this much percentage-based damage, yeah, he needs to have magic resistance later on.
Yeah, Ace gets ruptured, so that's the first one of the game for Tundra, and ends up being an easy one overall for them as Tofu gets off the nice Starbreaker. See if they chase any further. Skeeter has some move speed to go with it, but they're not going to pursue as they're fearing potential TPs to come out from Gaimin.
Yeah, they've been messing with Duracho a little bit on the bot lane too with the tossback, but didn't accomplish very much.
Ooh, that was close. That was sub 20 HP, I believe. As Duracho, he's going to get gone on now, 33 with the Exorcism, and that is a very large kill for Tundra. This is something, I don't want to put too much blame on Duracho, but we have noted that one of the big differences since the Major is it feels like he gets caught out quite often on this position 1 in a lot of their games, which ends up resulting in snowballing to the other team's favor. I'm not sure if that's going to happen this game, but that's something I've noticed that wasn't really the case during the Major or before the Major even.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd necessarily agree. Maybe he's making more, from my perspective, maybe he's making a couple more mid-game mistakes where he gets picked off, but yeah, maybe his performance hasn't been quite as solid, but again, everybody keeps getting better. It's a very hard game to stay on top.
As Duracho now level 5 in that bot lane, so looking at the actual farm going out, he's doing okay, but obviously against that Bloodseeker, it's going to be a bit of favor for Tundra as Snake King is going to have to cold embrace himself, but he is surrounded by enemies, and the Starbreaker is going to be enough there. So Tundra lose their support as Boom is coming with that coil. Try to set something up on Skeeter, who is having a monstrous game. Basically tied for the top net worth.
Yeah, both the mids are sitting equal. Skeeter's having a great time. Now Duracho dying twice total. His net worth has dropped a little bit, so despite the nice start for him, it's gotten a little bit worse. He is still going to pick up a Soul Ring. He's got a CM in his team, so this is one nice thing for Bristleback, actually, is that usually you struggle a decent amount on mana in the mid and late game, because the Soul Ring is not enough to sustain like the Ags Goose spam, but CM will help a bit there.
We do see the coil, but Unfortunately for Gaimin Gladiators, it is onto snaking, so I think Tundra will take that. As 9.
It's fine. They're just getting Puck more golden experience, right? Closer to Witchblade now, he's 200 gold away. So his rotations being successful is really important on this hero, because if you get a couple good rotations, it kind of just unlocks your solo kill potential. And there hasn't been much pressure on 9 yet. They haven't even made an attempt on him, just because killing him is pretty difficult. They'd have to probably commit like Dream Coil and like 2 ultimates, but for now, game's still very even. 3 threes, getting decent levels and experience too on the bot lane. Tofu cleaning things up, but yeah, very even game so far.
Yeah, Sox has been looking for somebody, as we're going to see a smoke now from Gaimin Gladiators on the side of for Boom and Celery specifically. And Boom's ultimate not going to be up for another 18 seconds, but he does have the Arcane Rune. See if they can time this. Is not really anybody that nearby. The closest is Skeeter, who's just backing up. So bot lane, we're going to see 33 with the Exorcism. Going for Tofu, who's going to dodge the Avalanche, gets off the hammer in the meantime, looking for potential TPs to come out for Gaimin, but they're not to come, so Tofu will be left to his own devices.
Yeah, I think they were just hoping for a top hero to show maybe. I mean, if they all TP bottom, the fight probably doesn't go that well anyways. They could get crushed there, lose tons of momentum, they'd lose their pressure on the top lane as well. But this looks pretty solid for Tundra from my perspective. They, they got the tower killed, they got their little kill. They can now rotate towards their mid lane, and Gaimin Gladiators didn't really all in on pressuring top either. Not like they have very good tower pressure with their heroes either until Bristleback gets more farmed. So yeah, slightly ahead for Tundra still, and if they can get a successful kill on Dyrachyo mid, those would be really big.
Yep, they're looking for the Avalanche to start with the Toss Rupture. That's a lot of damage, but it is a Bristleback. Tofu coming in with a nice Solar Guardian on top of Boom's Coil, so they end up getting the kill into the Bloodseeker, but it is at the cost of Dyrachyo's Bristle, so a 1-for-1 for both position 1s. As Boom, he's in pretty cool. Deep now. Avalanche is there, and that's a big turnaround kill, and 9 gets the double.
That was a big mistake there to go diving and not get the kill. Unfortunate. But great initiation. I love the way they did that. The Avalanche into Rupture toss was really cool. Kills the creep. They get the Rupture damage. And, some of it gets not resisted based on the Bloodseeker's positioning, but just overall way too much damage in the end. Wasn't much Bristle could do there. But the fact that they got Bristle, or that they cleaned up the Bloodseeker was really good. So small goal advantage for Tundra with that little play.
Yeah, ever since they changed Avalanche to not give you any space to use anything, like a phase shift, for example, Tiny has just felt super good against Puck to be able to lock him down.
Yeah, it makes a really big difference for sure. Definitely seen as one of the counters to the hero, definitely. He's a little bit less burst damage than he used to, but that's probably for the best. Makes the hero a little bit less cheesy in terms of his snowballing. But still very, very effective and a little bit more multi-purpose, which is kind of fun for the hero.
Do you miss?
Kind of cool to see Sox actually get a point of tree grab too. Most trees don't.
Do you miss the old Ags for this hero, the old play style? The IO, Tiny, get the Aghanim Scepter, just beat on buildings?
Like IO play style kind of. Not really. I mean, it was cool and all, but it was very, it was very limited. It was like the only way the hero could be good was with an IO.
And Dyrachyo
kind of a big ulti.
Yeah. And it's all for snaking. They should find him with the Frostbite connection. It's going to be the trade for the curse, but it's only going to delay the inevitable. Even a freezing field from Celery wants to take out those creeps swiftly.
Like kind of a lot. But I mean, you kind of have to commit. This is the nice thing about Night Stalker. It is a counter against Wyvern 5 in this way, because Wyvern 5 is so good at doing what Snaking just did. You sit in the trees, you spam out Splinter Blast so the creep wave can't push very easily, and then if they come try to kill you, you just fly over the trees for 8 seconds. Nobody can chase you, except for Night Stalker. So they burn the ulti, but they kind of have to do this. If they don't, then he keeps being annoying, and the tier 1 tower doesn't die in time, and then their state of the game never really accelerates. So now they're about even tactically on the map.
Yeah, very even game. When it comes to the actual Roche take, which we'll maybe hold that thought, is 33 doing a lot of damage to this tier 1. And you can see there are some members of Gaimin Gladiators in the area, but not sure if they want to actually defend. Going for the deny. Not happening though. So Tundra gets the first tier 1 mid.
That was cool. super safe the way they did that. Hide in the trees, cold embrace the creep wave to keep it even tankier, and then when it's slowed, then they can pop out and commit. And they knew Nightstalker ulti was down anyways, right? So Gaimin Gladiators was realistically not going to fight there when it's daytime, but they still did it in a really safe way because they don't want to give anything up right now. So that was very patient and cool by Tundra.
Yeah, Ace is working on a BKB, and I feel like we haven't seen much from him yet, aside from that kill onto Snaking with that ultimate of his. But I mean, you can see his farm. I mean, it's not the greatest farming hero, right? That's kind of the issue with Nightstalker. I mean, the shard, I guess you get at some point that can help to a degree, but it feels like a hero that just has to get like super active really early. Obviously, you're kind of stuck on using it during the nighttime, being effective during half the game.
Yeah, the shard makes a big difference for Nightstalker. It really does. You can kind of think of it like a Midas in a way. It might seem underwhelming on paper, but yeah, it just accelerates you for sure. And as long as you continue stabilizing in your laning stage, or at least like you still have places on the map to farm in moments like this, then it still can help. So his net worth is not as great as Death Prophet's for sure, and he can't take objectives as well, but if he transitions well in the mid-game fights and gets kills on backliners and stuff like that, he'll be fine.
And Bristle has Aghanim's Scepter purchased now, just needs to be delivered, so that's the obvious power spike from Gaimin, as they're trying to align it with the BKBs, so Nightstalker is still a recipe away, and I guess that's the only person going for BKB as of now. But Tundra kind of reciprocating, right? So it feels like it's much more standard play to get the BKBs like roughly the same time for both sides versus like what it used to be years ago. As we're going to see a smoke now from Gaimin. Boom. Oh, smoke does pop. He gets the blink off. Coil onto 9, but you can see he's actually outside that Solar Guardian, so he might be just fine. In fact, Boom gets disintegrated. That's not even a word, Purge. Is 9.
It's not.
9 looks like he's going to drop. No, the curse is saving him for now, but the Splinter Blast is not quite enough. He gets out with just a sliver of HP, and Dyrachyo dies as well. So this was just terrible from Gaimin, as it's not over yet. The Rupture is there as well, so triple kill for 33, a 4 for nothing. And they even invented a new word for me during this fight. So much was done for Tundra.
All right, let's take a look and watch Zeus get disintegrated. I'm sorry, the puck gets disintegrated here. I mean, it looked like a good jump because Zeus jumped himself away, and then they were able to coil him kind of close to enemies, but unfortunately it looked like the Donald was just slightly out of AoE, so they didn't get that damage follow-up. Puck got blown up almost instantly, and then they also got Bristleback so low from this that they were able to clean him up. Just, yeah, absolute disintegration of a team fight.
So it is a combination of incineration and disintegrate. Yes, that was, whew. That's a sign of getting old right there. As you can see, Boom in the trees. They're going to get a little bit of vision here. Avalanche toss and the silence, and that is yet another death for Boom. Number 3 for him. And obviously not to compare because Nisha has just been, I mean, I don't know if it's just me. Obviously everybody's, touting how good he's on puck, but I don't remember ever seeing anybody do so well on puck ever in this specific season for Secret.
Why are you talking about Team Secret?
Because there's a puck in this game. It's just not the same. Okay. I mean, he never dies on puck for Nisha. It's unbelievable.
Sure. But there are some problems this game that he has to deal with. There's a huge amount of burst damage from Zeus, so if he ever does get disabled, he's pretty much instantly dead.
Yep. Ava, toss back to 9. So Celery getting juked and destroyed.
Not much you can do. But I think one of the sleeper most underrated abilities in Dota actually is silence on Death Prophet. I think like people forget how powerful this ability is, but it's like, it's just an orchid, you just have this ability. If you silence the puck, he dies. Like most pucks don't buy Yule's Scepter these days. So yeah, Boom has made a couple mistakes where he gets a little bit overly aggressive. He gets silenced, and then they just use regular disables to kill him.
Dyrachyo, he's all alone. You can see the control coming out from Soxa, but the TP attempt is not going to be successful. The 9 ultimate coming at the last moment. It looks like 33 is actually the one to get the kill. But that was as close as it gets. Yeah, I thought he was out for sure. As we're going to see now, a curse from Snaking as Tundra starting to take firm control of this game. Soxa's there as well. Double kill for 33 from jungle to mid lane. And now into the Roche pit they go.
They're just doing such a great job. They're all over the place, constantly setting things up. Now committing Exorcism to Roshan, which will tank things up perfectly for Skeeter. His BKB is probably flying out. It is. Yeah, this is just going absolutely perfect for Tundra. Top lane is being pushed in with these illusions from Zeus. Who expected to see that?
Wow.
Great split pushing. They'll probably go straight to the top tier 1 if they want it, or they can go for a kill.
Very powerful illusions indeed, as the Aegis is picked up by Skeeter. Celery, wrong place, wrong time. I think he wanted to get a ward down. Either way, he gets deleted. 7K lead for Tundra, and it's crazy how close in skill a lot of these EU teams are. Like, not to trash talk NA, but like, oh, we're going to see the buyback from Crystal Maiden, though. As you can see, Ace with the BKB, Solar Guardian coming in. It's not really going to connect onto anybody but the Coil, keeping a lot of the Tundra on the other side of the river. But Ace is dead to start this fight. Tofu looks to be next, and the Aegis still online for Skeeter. He is cleaning up. Dyrachyo, you can see the Spirit Vessel applied. Skeeter getting juked by the trees a bit. Can't pursue any further, but either way, they get a 3-for-0. Tundra coming out on top big time.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to fight into that. I mean, the Night Stalker runs in BKB, he just gets ruptured. It is one of the hardest counters against Night Stalker. It's like your Pango-esque counter. Like, he needs to run in and out of the fight to be obnoxious. And yeah, he did an okay job DPSing Bloodseeker, but when he dies, Bloodseeker gets like a huge heal, and they're able just to run down the rest of the squad. And that was also Tofu's ultimate, the Solar Guardian on top of that, to try to offset it and give them more advantage, but it's just not there. Tundra's just running over their opponents, and it feels to me like the Gladiators kind of missed their timing at this point.
Yeah, it's going to be an uphill battle for sure. As you can see, Dyrachyo is still working on that BKB, while Skeeter's had his for a while, and I think he's going for a basher now. So might get a little bit uglier for Gaimin, but I mean, what I was going to bring up, like versus the NA teams, like the skill level, you can tell it's not that far apart. It's just like a couple mistakes that Tundra take advantage of, and then they can kind of blow the game open, right? Like the 9K lead looks bad, but it's not like a huge skill discrepancy, at least in my opinion. As we're going to see toss back, and you talked about that silence coming out from 33. And Nine's just going to take that for himself. Why not?
And it's like, oh, it looks like you might miss the kill. Let me just take that. Naturally. Yeah, got to do that on the Zeus, man. Gotta get those that extra gold here. He's got the Vambrace, he's got the Kaiasan, his spell damage is huge.
Oh boy.
Oh my god, they're all over the place.
Yep, that's the Rupture, Bloodright, and the damage. 33 is a monster right now. 11K lead for Tundra as he picks up his Basher now. And 33 able to do some damage to this tier 2. They should be able to take this without much of a defense, although Fortification is popped.
I mean, the damage that 33 is doing to Bristle is actually insane. He's hitting him with the Spirit Vessel and the Spirit Siphon. So per second, Bristle's losing like 9.5% of his current health. That's being reduced by 40% or whatever because of his Bristle back, but it doesn't matter. Like, he still gets absolutely shredded. That's just the beginning of the damage. So I mean, he doesn't have BKB yet, so there's just no way Bristle can fight. You might think, like, maybe he gets magic resistance, but that doesn't really solve the problem either. He needs BKB. They needed the game to go slower, and they needed to hit a time where they have BKBs, and then they can run at their opponents. Yeah. Like, the percentage-based damage that they got from Death Prophet and Zeus just really undercuts the Bristle in a huge way. So I know they don't have stuns. That's an issue potentially, but they've gotten ahead, and now they can just run at their opponents.
Yep, now we see
Good
Nimbus onto Ace. He's going to BKB TP. So, I was going to say should be fine, but there is a Winter's Curse. So Ace, that's a big BKB charge down, and he's going to be taken out swiftly. And Snake King, he deserved that kill. This time he takes it for himself.
I mean, it was kind of Nine who set that one up with his Nimbus to get the perfect vision there, which set up Snake King. But
True.
You know, sometimes you can't steal every kill. You can't steal all the glory. Nine's doing his best though. He is 7-0 and 11 on the 12th of July. Very close. Just needs one more assist.
Yeah. It's 33. Gonna take the outpost as this tier 2 tower is looking to be dead in favor of Tundra. And the Aegis is going to expire in 40 seconds, so I'm not sure if they want to go high ground. Typically in these situations, it feels like they just take the safer play and just split the map and wait for the next Roche. Just try to get as much control over the vision as possible.
Yeah, they're trying to get kills.
Oh boy,
yeah,
that is not a good sign when you're just taken out with an Avatos Nimbus. And that is the puck dead. Celery looks to be next. Man, Tundra looking pretty unstoppable in this game.
Yeah, I think this is just Gaimin Gladiators assuming that Tundra is going to go high ground, so they're just getting stuff out of the map in the meantime, but they're doing the better thing, and then they just keep going back and forth the map and crushing their opponents. This is probably the best way when you're ahead to continue crushing and compounding your advantage, because your opponents just keep dying, you keep getting gold advantage, and you're farming equally or far faster than them, so it kind of just gives you more and more. Tofu probably dead. Oh, you used the hood.
All right.
Nice.
Very nice hood
He's got
usage.
Nimbus in 2. Can he kill him with Nimbus?
No,
Nah, he's not going to try.
That would just be free gold. Nimbus worth so much gold.
That's true.
So there's no right or wrong answer to this, but I'm interested in what you think is happening with... I mean, this is only game 1, obviously, so the series is certainly not over.
You were the worst driver, yes.
No, I'm not. I actually was not going to bring that up, but how dare you? Gaimin Gladiators, they're kind of their decline, which we'll have to hold that thought as Dyrachyo is going to get healed up a bit, but Tofu on the other side, Dyrachyo just dies inside the Nimbus. They are kiting him so hard right now as the Rupture.
They got Soxa.
Yeah, they do get Soxa. Ace gets bashed inside the Blood Right, so the BKB activated, but he can't really run around with that Rupture still there. And the buyback from Dyrachyo. It is a 2-for-1 with the buyback coming through. His 33 is getting quite low. Looking for Dyrachyo in the trees, though. This would likely be GG if they find this dieback kill. Skeeter getting control, though. The Starbreaker is there. Coil to follow. But they're just going to run away, it seems. That BKB gives Skeeter that exit option. But still, it's a 2-for-1 with the buyback obviously coming out from Gaimin, so Tundra's still coming out on top in this fight.
It actually wasn't that far off, though. Only like a 500 gold difference here, considering, which is surprising to me. But you know, delaying Bristleback's BKB is going to be the big tough thing. That's going to be rough because every fight just seems to be Spirit Vessel, Spirit Siphon, and then they just kill him. Burst damage.
Yep, and you can see Gaimin trying to get very aggressive. Soxa was the recipient of that initiation, but it's going to be punished. Tofu taken out to start it. Soxa looks to be fine. So back to my point. Gaimin Gladiators, since the major, they just haven't really looked the same. Like, how much of a combination is it that the patch kind of nerfed them a bit versus them knowing that they're qualified for TI, so maybe not... I mean, I guarantee you every team is thinking they're taking it seriously, you know, but it's human nature to, like, put your pedal off the metal to a degree, just like in the go-karting that you saw, which is the main reason that I lost, obviously.
Yeah, too scared to spin out.
So what do you think the main reason is, just from... Obviously, we have no inside knowledge, but I'm just curious what you think.
I think that Gaimin Gladiators started doing better because they improved a decent amount and they developed like kind of a unique strategy. And I think they're still a very good team, but teams have gotten better at playing against that strategy. So it's going to be hard to you know, reinvent themselves or to perfect it in such a way that your opponents can't counter it. So I think it's just like a nature of, like, they're a really solid team. But, you know, they've just looked a little weaker recently. And keep in mind that a lot of the EU teams are really, really good, too. So it's also that. I think that can't be underestimated either.
Yep, that is true. I'm used to watching a lot of NA, where that is not really the case for half the teams.
What are you talking about? TSM got second.
Yeah.
And now they're 3-3.
They feel... I mean, no, the top 4 of NA is super interesting, but after that, not so much. But it is an improvement, right? Because before it was literally 2, then it was 3, now it's 4. So we just need more slots for the major. I'm sure everyone will agree with that. Take one away from EU, right? I
genuinely do agree. No,
maybe not that
I would say... Ooh, I don't know who you take one away from. They're all regions are actually pretty solid, so it's tough.
Yeah, it is. Just add more slots in general, then. You know, the old power creep mechanic.
Just do the old 19 teams invited to the major and figure it out.
Easy. As Ace and company, they're smoked up. The Avalanche is going to slow them down a bit as Ace, you can see, has that crippling fear activated. But he gets ruptured inside the Blood Rides, already at half health. Just trying to find some distance from Skeeter, but they're going to find him easily. Don't even have to touch him. Just the rupture was enough. And that is a dead Night Stalker for 40 seconds with no buyback.
Skeeter really using his BKB well, in the sense that he's not using it. I mean, he runs into sort of dangerous circumstances, and he's just trying to force his opponent's abilities away. Because now they know that Bristle pop BKB, because he can't fight Bloodseeker without it, and then he just has to back. And now Tundra can do whatever they want for another 90 seconds or so. And if Dyrachyo comes up, this is what's going to happen.
Celery, will he get away? Attempting to TP out. And looks like it did get canceled. He's doing... Yeah, that's not going to happen. So Tundra getting everything they want. I assume they're waiting for the second Roche to finish the game, as it is now up. And boom. Obviously doing the Puck classic of just split pushing as much as he can to delay what seems like the inevitable. This is a 20... Oh man, the coil. Yikes. That feels bad.
He knew Snake King was there because he went invis with his Shadow Amulet, but Snake King anticipated the re-jump and ends up being caught. 9 gonna chase him a little bit.
Yep. And with the Bristol dead, I guess Roshan isn't really needed. As 33 and Skeeter just gonna start hitting the racks. So this should be a clean top racks for them. And they could continue. I mean, they can go for full megas if they really want, as all the outer towers are down at the moment. But with the Exorcism dissipating, looks like they'll reset and potentially go for the old Roche.
Not too bad here. Keep in mind, Bloodseeker has like perfect items against the Bristleback this game. He got the shard earlier. It's giving him like 50 pure damage per hit that heals him. The Mjolnirs were really good against Bristle too. When he activates it on himself, the quill damage that comes out naturally is going to sometimes proc damage back. It's just fantastic here for Skeeter. Really tough for him to play. Celery gonna walk in though.
Yep, he's gonna get tossed back. And Skeeter ends up getting the kill. That was the old alley-oop. Skeeter really slam dunked that one. As Dyrachyo trying to find a target. And Soxa, he's going to get another toss, this time onto Tofu. Man, he is just doing everything for this team as he's attempting to TP out. Looks like he's going to be fine. Nope. They do find him in the end. Okay, he gets healed by the Cold Embrace, and instead, Dyrachyo's the one that is taken out swiftly. And boom, pops that Essence Ring as trying to help out his friend in that Night Stalker, but Ace drops next. It's a 3-for-1 as finally Soxa dies, but the GGs come out. So game 1 going to Tundra, and I mean, it started off relatively even, but just a couple of mistakes from Gaimin Gladiators, and it felt like Tundra just snowballed the crap out of the game after that.
They really did. I mean, Puck had a good start. He got like 2 kills, but it just felt like every skirmish Gaimin Gladiators tried to take after that didn't go very well. They countered the combo of Gladiators, which is like Dream Coil plus Dawn ulti, get some kills kind of stuff. It didn't really happen very successfully for them. And then Tundra just came into the game in the mid game with all this high burst damage, great control, Rupture to counter Night Stalker, and percentage-based damage. And all the Gaimin Gladiators heroes just kind of fell apart.
So 9 goes 10-0, 33, 10-1. So combined 20-1. I'm going to do more math. 11-2 from Skeeter. That ends up being 31-3 total score between the 3 cores. And on the other side, we're not going to go through each one, but I can't remember the last time I've seen a Bristleback go 1-9. That is actually alarming. I didn't think he was doing that bad. Yeah, he did. I mean, you and the panel both brought it up. The HP percentage damage, the pure damage, everything in combination just felt like wasn't much that Dyrachyo could do. But that is just game 1. Stay tuned as we'll come back and see if they can try to push this to a game number 3.
What's your style? Get your merch at shop.eslgaming.com.
Right now, for the first time in a while, I'm ready to start dreaming again. I know that it's time to let go, 'cause I never want this feeling to end. I stay up, staying up all night,
eyes wide, got me feeling so high. Don't ever think I felt so alive. Stay up, staying up all night, talking till sunrise. Stay up, staying up all night with you. Yeah. Come on, let's go till the unknown. No holding back. Just take my hand, 'cause this is what we came for. Come on, let's go till the unknown, 'cause this is what we came for. Yeah, I want to be wanna free so much, 'cause lately I've been feeling kinda cooped up. Yeah, on the count of 3, I'm ready, 'cause the future is shining bright for me.
Well, that game really got away from Gaimin Gladiators in a hurry, and they GG'd out right around 30 minutes, just like I did in my pub games this morning. I don't blame them. It was looking pretty grim. Tundra turning on the style there after what the casters felt was a pretty close game early on, and I believe they were right. Few misplays, few mistakes, bit of quality from Tundra, and closed it out. And their draft started to make a lot more sense as the game went on, and we were like, oh, I see, oh yeah, that's very clever. That's kind of how it felt to me, Neil. What do you think?
Yeah, and not only the draft, but I think just in all aspects of the game, it seemed like Tundra was just the better team. Their coordination, their team fighting. Maybe the laning was pretty even, but even like 9 getting that double kill with Thundergod's Wrath as soon as he hits level 6, it all just seemed significantly more coordinated for Tundra than it did for Gaimin Gladiators.
I agree. Mira, what did you make of it?
I mean, the clip that we saw just now is kind of the story of the game for me, where they hit that bristleback timing with that Aghanim's Vanguard, and they felt pressure to make these potentially very risky moves, right? Like they were the ones running into Tundra at the tier 1s, and Tundra were content that entire game. I mean, up until they started to get the ball rolling, when they did, they really did. But they were content the entire game to just sit on their side of the river and just play into Gladiators as they came to them, right? They played a strong laning phase, but they didn't feel the need to make any smokes early on where they could potentially die or anything. No, they just waited for them to run into them, and then just beautiful counter initiations, right? With the Wyvern, with the Curse, with just the ability to outplay with the Ruptures. And they got what they needed out of the point where Gladiators should have been strong. Then they take away the first Roshan from them, they get the Aegis, and then the rest is history from there, because like we talked about earlier, it's a timing-based draft with this bristleback. You mess up a couple of times and it's pretty much over for you, right? Because what are you looking at? You're playing into a Rupture versus 2 mobility-dependent cores. You're playing into percentage-based damage and a lot of it, and you don't necessarily have the better scaling rate. So Gladiators needed to, I guess, pick and choose their fights a little bit better, but it's more so Tundra just outplayed, outspellcasted, and maneuvered them when it really counted in that game.
I always personally feel like when there's a Wyvern on the enemy team, he's there exactly when you need him, and every time you try to do anything, someone's getting cursed, or your entire team's getting cursed, or he's slowing you down, or he's escaping over a cliff. When there's a Wyvern on my team, just as I'm about to kill someone, the curse comes in and the fight is lost. So Tundra played like my enemy's Wyvern. Can you relate to that on any level, Mira, or are the Wyverns in your games always amazing?
Well, I mean, it's this confirmation bias, right? It's like the classic Dota, the classic Dota staple, which is my pudge versus enemy pudge. You know, it's existed since Dota 1. But it's more so just your mind telling you that, Pyrian, because I'm sure you've had a decent Wyvern from time to time.
Yes. Let's have a look at the head-to-head. This was a mid matchup. Let's have a look.
I love this one because it's super biased, because no matter what position Zeus was going to be, he was going to have like 1 billion more damage.
Oh, look at that. Amazing. Yes. Zeus, easiest damage dealt in the game to get. But we did see, I mean, we saw Nisha's puck earlier.
Yeah, I know. It's a tough act to follow.
It is a
I feel
tough
for
act to
Boom.
follow.
Because I mean, like, Nisha literally set the bar for maybe like one of the best puck performances we've seen in years in that last game. And so no matter what you were going to play after that, it was probably not going to look as good. And so I'm not surprised that Suns fan made the comparison as well, but maybe that's just where the bar is set in Western Europe right now. And Gaming Gladiators obviously are in the middle of the pack, just like Secret. And if you can't do that well, then maybe you need to look at another hero perhaps. But
perhaps so. Neil, Mira, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, though, we'll have game 2. Don't miss it. See you in a bit. Get hyped! Gaming Gladiators need to turn this one around, and right quick! Because Tundra don't look like they're asleep, they look like they're ready to do battle. On the fields of Pelennor, or wherever the enemy shall be found, we shall run them down on horseback, on foot, and in the air.
Pelennor?
I think that's a reference to something, I can't remember what. It might be Lord of the Rings. Game 2 coming up. Pelennor.
That sounds like a person's name.
I'll look it up afterwards. It stuck out in my old wizened, pickled brain. Pelennor. The Fields of Pelennor. I want to say that was Lord of the Rings. I could be wrong.
Okay.
Anyway. Oh, we're into the
I don't
draft.
think there's Pelennor.
P-E-L.
Are you a Tolkien fan?
O-N-N-O-R, I
I
think.
am a Tolkien fan, but that's not Lord of the Rings. Pelennor is a fantasy series by Australian author Alison Croggan spanning 4 books and a prequel.
It might have been it. I've not read it, but it might have hopped into the old brain.
Big fan of Aussie
You guys look
fantasy.
really cozy on those chairs, by the way.
Do we? They're
jealous.
miserable to sit on here.
Why are you sitting on it then, Ted?
Because I'm being paid to. Patrick instructed me I had to sit on these, and I said, Patrick, no, but I respect my my boss, so I sit on the chair.
You could take that pillow and you can put it on the
pillow. This
on the
is
butt part.
Sharky. How dare you?
No, I mean the pillow that Tsunami's holding up.
mean to you, Sharky? Don't you?
What's the pillow ergonomic solution?
Ignore her, Sharky.
So
Oh, he's
you
angry.
sit on
Don't
the
touch him,
pillow.
Neil. He's cross.
It'll be like your cushion for your rear end.
Oh, he already
That one.
has one. Even
Look,
with
yesterday you said I was considerably older. I don't need you talking about my ass. Thank you. Let's leave that alone.
I said significantly older in an endearing way, you know? Like Uncle
Believe me,
Ted.
there's nothing endearing about being significantly older. This
You
is
are youthful.
These are the same
You're
drafts.
youthful, okay?
I'm not youthful. I'm
Wow, Uncle
grumpy.
Teddy, your memory is working very well then.
Unky Ted and his old brain.
These are the same
Oh,
dress.
well, as long as you accept it, then I did my part
What
trying
choice
to
do I
convince
have?
you of your youthful vigor and whatnot.
You could try to age ungracefully. I see that happen with many people.
And then today, the James Webb Telescope images came out, made me feel old and pathetically infinitesimally small. The point where I was like, what was the point in anything anymore? And then I thought, wait a minute.
What's the point of anything?
Dota.
That's the two outlooks of it. It's like, what's the point of anything, or what's the point of anything?
Yeah, exactly.
There's no point to anything.
Well, there absolutely is.
The Dota player mentality.
Winning mid. That's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about.
They're going back with the puck.
Yeah, so it's basically the same opener for either team, and it's a good opener for both teams. Like Dawn Puck is a super high value opener, so is the Tinyuzus. But just based on what we saw last game, it looked like on paper maybe the puck wasn't necessarily solved in the best way possible, but that wasn't the case. It could have been that Boom maybe had an off performance just going in and dying, but it did seem like there was so much burst damage for this puck that if he ever made a simple mistake, he was just done. So just based on the game that we just watched, I do favor Tundra's opener for them, especially
I'm
after
kind of
seeing how
surprised,
comfortable.
Mira. I'm kind of surprised that Game Gladiators haven't banned the Wyvern, because I felt like Wyvern did a lot in that game. Am I incorrect?
You are, but I
You are
feel
correct.
targeting Snake King is usually like you're not going to want to have to do that in a draft. You would much rather keep your eyes on Skeeter and then Tundra, or yeah, I think Skeeter and 33 are like public enemy number 1 when it comes to bans.
Right.
If you start having to focus on supports, then you're going in the wrong direction. And so as much as Wyvern did, I think that's just because all the other heroes were not in the pool that they're like, oh, okay, I mean, this is a good Wyvern game.
Gotcha.
And I thought the Wyvern performance was really solid, but of course they can like alternate what they're going to do in the second phase anyway to play around it better. Potentially have heroes that just jump the backlines a little bit more. This Death Prophet ban is kind of worrying me because it might just be an indicator that they're going for another Bristleback draft.
And they thought
And
DP was the problem.
I don't know if running it back the same entire... I really hope they don't run it back. Because I don't think it'll work out for them if they're just going to run back the Bristle.
They don't have to go for the Maiden as a follow-up to the Bristle, though, because that's where things started to go wrong for me with Gaimin. Get the Bristle if you really want to run it back, which I'm also not enthusiastic, but like you said, the DP ban does kind of indicate that they're like, okay, let's change one little piece of the puzzle that Tundra had last time and see if we can still run this Bristle through. But if they do that, then don't go for the Maiden. Go for, I don't know.
Okay.
They're going for Bat.
This is different.
Are Gaming Gladiators at risk of relegation from the division? Is that a possibility?
That is a possibility. So if they lose this game, then they will have the same score as Goon Squad. And so both of them would be 2-5, and both of them would have to play a BO3 to determine who gets the second relegation spot along with Alliance.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that between Goon Squad and Gaming Gladiators, though, that Gladiators are the better team. So hopefully, even if they lose this series, that they can kind of pull it through during the tiebreakers. And I say hopefully, not because I'm biased, but this is a team that's going to TI, right? So
yes,
the concept of playing TI from Division 2 is so bizarre. It's just a very
I can't
unusual
fuck with
thing.
that, as Mira would say.
No, you can't, Uncle Dad. No, you can't. But so Batrider is a cool solution, I guess you can call it, to Wyvern, in the sense that we saw how impactful Cold Embrace was, and the Firefly damage with all the sticky napalm, and just the idea of this hero who can go in with the puck is a really cool concept in that sense. It can also just do a lot versus things like support timies. I know that Gladiators like to do lane swaps and lane shenanigans, but any kind of melee support versus Batrider struggles very, very hard. And of course, Tiny can be flexed. We always need to mention it, but it does seem like Nine is very fond of his mid-Zeus and unlikely to give it away.
What is the interaction? I've always forgotten. What is the interaction between Winter's Curse and Nightmare? If, as Bane, you Nightmare the cursed target, does it just keep swapping back and forth between whoever's attacking and... Like, so you Nightmare the cursed target, whoever was attacking would be Nightmare.
Ally keeps bouncing the Nightmare back and forth. I actually don't know. I mean, technically it can only go once.
Right. It would go one way, once.
Which doesn't seem like it's that optimal, but...
It would stop, I mean, if it would stop one hero.
It still buys some time.
Yeah.
But more so, just having this BKB piercing disable in Fiend Script is going to be very important for whatever carry comes out, because we saw what happened when those BKB timings came out on Bloodseeker. It felt like they couldn't do anything, but also Enfeeble is really good, right? Because it's just heal reduction. I think at max level, it's around 65% or something like that.
Yeah, no, it's
more
nuts.
actually,
It's
isn't
nuts.
it?
It is
level
really
one,
insane.
Level 1 is 40% or 45, I believe.
And
so
it's like 15 seconds it lasts as well, isn't it, Enfeeble?
You can spam it off cooldown, actually, if you're alive in fights as Vayne. So it's definitely like a permanent uptime spell when it's when you last in a fight. But it's also just very good versus Tiny. It's very good versus Wyvern, right? So whoever gets Cold Embrace, we talked about how effective it was last game. The ability to Enfeeble that target is going to be really nice. But also, Faceless Void gets picked in this last phase, and Bane is typically a hero that I consider one of the good counters versus Void, because not like, let's say multiple targets get chronoed. You can Nightmare one, you can also just grip the Void through Chronosphere, and if you're gripping the Void, then you can't grip other players on Tundra, but Void hates getting gripped. He doesn't really like to buy the link.
He doesn't like to be touched, I would say, would be how I'd sum up Faceless Void, let alone gripped.
Yeah, but I'm with Mira. I don't really know why you would pick it into a Bane, because even the heal reduction aspect that we talked about is really irritating with Time Walk. And so in lane, if Bane is going to be laning against Void, which I don't think would be the case, I'm thinking, well, actually, it's probably going to be Tofu on the Dawn again.
I mean, I think the Void pick is good. It's not a bad pick at all. Like, it's just irritating to play Void versus Bane. Like, every Void player kind of knows this, that you have to always account for the Bane's positioning. But the Chronosphere is a really good spell. Like, you want to catch the puck, right? Void is one of the better carries at catching puck by dropping Chrono on a phase shift or something like that. And not just that, we talked about how effective Wyvern was as a counter initiate to Solar Guardian. But if you think about it, Void can kind of be the same thing, where Dawn can actually set up for a 2-man chrono at the minimum if she Solar Guardians in. But on the other hand, Dawn has also been a counter to Void in the sense that if she buys an Aghanim Scepter as a support, she can just drop it on the Void chrono, and all the extra healing, all the extra evasion is like full duration. Also, in the past, Dawnbreaker used to drop, like when she used to drop into the Chronosphere, she would get caught at the top of the chrono. She would get like, stuck there, and she wouldn't land. But now she actually lands inside of the chrono and stuns.
Oh, okay.
For that 1 second. Yeah, so she's cool versus Void in that sense. So it goes both ways, this matchup, right? Void has neat things versus Puck and Dawn, but they also have neat things on Gladiators versus the Void.
That tells me it's going to come down to execution.
Yeah.
Yes, and more importantly, like, Void has a time walk mechanic. Like, he can jump away from Batrider, hopefully. Like, it is a high cooldown spell in the first few levels, but just being able to close that distance between him and Batrider early on could save him a couple of times. So it makes the laning a little bit easier.
And normally, whenever a Faceless Void is present, I would think that you would need to ban out Invoker, but against 9, with these 3 heroes already selected between Tiny Zeus and Wyvern, I imagine one of them is going to be 9-0. So
they need a building hitter, is what they need.
Yeah, I'm on board with that.
Gladiators.
And Lycan gets taken out as far as building hitters are concerned.
Yeah.
Which I'm curious, I think Tundra is almost thinking that it might be a 1-position Dawn based off of these bans, and instead they're targeting ace heroes with a Veno ban. But
Wraith King.
So Wraith King is traditionally the
Standard
counter
answer
to Void
right?
Chrono.
Yeah.
Because you can tank the Chrono for your team and then you just reincarnate. Like he's always the go-to carry when you're playing against these like big cooldowns like Ravage, Chronosphere, Doom, etc. He's always something to be considered. He's also a Blink Dagger buying carry, which can be really important if your initiators are kind of like low committal, right? Like Puck can go in, but he doesn't necessarily want to be the only one in. Batrider also goes in, but he doesn't like getting stunned, so you are waiting for a specific kind of BKB travels timing on him. So when you have this Wraith King, he can help focus on this Wyvern. He can help focus on this Zeus. So I understand the need for something like a Wraith King, and it is good on paper versus Void. I don't know, I just worry this. I lost a little bit of faith in Wraith King recently because sometimes it feels like he should have a great game and then he just really doesn't. Like the hero just loses in a lot of core-to-core matchups these days.
There's speaking of building hitting, that is what you want really. Someone like a Visage can help as well. So they got Tiny and Visage between them take buildings pretty damn fast.
Yep, and then 9 is going to end up playing the Wyvern this time, so if you need long-range damage, he was either going to come from the Zeus or the Wyvern to pump into the Chrono. Your long right clicks with the probably eventual Bloodthorn coming out of the Winter Wyvern, so I'm excited to see 9 play something different.
Absolutely.
And some of his comfort, and then obviously 33 Visages as signature as it gets.
Of course.
Yeah,
Mira, your thoughts quickly?
Gladiators,
Who do you think is going to win this?
Yeah. I mean, I think Tundra will win this just based on their like performance in game 1. But I think for Gladiators, we should definitely keep an eye out on Batrider, because if Batrider can play an explosive game, really pressure Void on lane, and then like translate that into map control for his team, it can be a really solid hero versus Tundra's heroes.
Okay, and Neil, you said you're just looking forward to seeing Wyvern.
Yeah, based off of the just quality of gameplay from game number 1, I am pretty discouraged with Gaimin Gladiators, which not discouraged enough to consider them to not be the favorites in what may eventually be their relegation tiebreaker against Goon Squad, but I would like to see this game just be more competitive just for their sake.
Agreed. Okay, well, with that, we're going to throw it over to Suns Fan and Purge. Chaps, have a wonderful cast.
Thank you. As I've said before, production hates it when I sit in this spot because I block Purge. My head looks like, man, it's actually almost the same size as yours, and yours is blown up like 10 times. Or just not, the delay.
Like my double juke there.
Yeah, that was not bad, not bad.
The triple juke.
So game...
1 second, I'm going to juke you 12 times.
Game number 2 is coming. This would be a nice little mini game. We could do this while we cast, because people don't know when the game starts and the camera's not on us. Purge is still up here. I can just look at him all the like every facial animation. Since you're a robot, there's no expression. It's a facial animation that was coded for you. I can see. But Gaimin Gladiators versus Tundra. Tundra takes game 1 in pretty convincing fashion. And like the panel talked about, if Gaimin Gladiators lose this, then there will be a tiebreaker for relegation between them and Goon Squad. So super important for them, but just based off the lineups, do you have a favorite?
I think I like Tundra's stuff better for sure. I mean, the Batrider is a bit interesting, but Void is traditionally counter against it because of time dilation. So you just stop them from reapplying sticky napalm, and then your lane can be reset, sort of. That part is nice. Chronosphere, very powerful, obviously. Chronosphere against Wraith King, not so good. So there's good things for both teams, definitely. But it's hard to watch the last game and not expect Tundra to pull out a win.
Right. And I think I speak for all of us, including Tsunami, who is very excited for this Wyvern mid, which I haven't gotten to see in a really long time. What are you expecting to come out of 9 in terms of... well, we can talk about the matchup a little bit later because that's what we usually do anyway. But what do you even buy on this hero? He mentioned Bloodthorn. I mean, Aghanim's used to be a thing, but they nerfed the crap out of that, so I don't think anybody goes for that anymore, right?
I don't know if I'd say nerf the crap out of it. I mean, it's probably weaker. I don't remember the specific nerfs to it, but Witchblade is the most common item to buy. It's like the perfect item to turn into heroes into like cores because it gives you everything that the hero usually lacks, which is agility. So it gives you attack speed and it gives you armor. Those are the two big things. And it also obviously gives you damage and slow and projectile speed increase. Those are all really good things too. But yeah, Witchblade into Orchid or other utility items would definitely be an expected one here.
All right, and he's going to be going up against Boom, obviously, who played the Puck last game. Not too much success, obviously, but I don't even know how this lane goes. Like, Splinter Blast, I assume, is just going to eventually get leveled up to the point that he's just pushing out the waves, but if you're Boom, you can typically dodge that relatively easily with the phase shift. So I would assume it's just mostly a farm trade. But then into the jungle, I assume Puck still has a little bit of an advantage because he's just better than everybody else.
He should, for sure. I mean, yeah, you basically just use Splinter Blast to secure some of your early last hits because your base damage is kind of crappy. But he'll definitely need Bottle to sustain that, for example. And then later on, he can go do some like side lane ganks and things like that. And then transition into getting solo kills, ideally.
And this top lane is really interesting. Celery and Dyrachyo are in the off lane, essentially, to try to harass Skeeter on this Faceless Void, which is another hero that we don't get to see a ton of. Go ahead.
They had to avoid the Batrider was the main thing. They couldn't lane that matchup. It would have been too bad for them. In some ways, this is better for Gaming Gladiators too, because Batrider's kind of counters Visage in some ways. You can break through his armor really, really easily. So gives them the better matchups. Yeah, it's a carry versus carry setup, but should be fine.
Yep, Soul Assumption is a very scary spell to go up against in any kind of lane, as Ace is going to take another one to the face, but he's going to use the Firefly with the 4 sticky Napalm stack onto Soxa, but you can see Tofu's stun not able to come out, so they lose Ace. And that is first blood for 33. Soul Assumption to follow, but didn't have any stacks on it, so Tofu's going to be just fine. But, I mean, 33, one of the best Visage players in the world, and showing why there.
Yeah, it was nicely done. I mean, it was kind of a bit of a moment there for Ace, but yeah, the Soul Assumption cooldown is just so low, it just keeps coming back. Very difficult for them to win that fight, unfortunately. But last hits right now looks pretty even across the board, except for Batrider. Batrider's only got 4 last hits right now. He's the one hero that's suffering big time.
Yeah, and the death obviously not going to help too much in that regard. So we'll see if he's able to bounce back, or if they... I mean, do you think there's a world where you need to switch lanes eventually, or do you just stick it out there as that Batrider in the bot lane? All right.
Well,
saying sticking out. Ace,
kill.
yeah, he gets a kill on the 33, so a nice revenge kill, if you will.
That's in some ways the counter to Visage, is you just kill him instead of his support. If you're always going for the support, he gets way more Soul Assumptions off, but once you kill him, the rest of the fight is pretty straightforward. Yeah, this lane is a little dangerous, but yeah, the more levels he gets, the better this gets for him. Visage actually struggles a lot, usually between like levels 2 and 6, because that's the point where your opponents can kind of run you down and just kill you repeatedly, like those jug counters that we sometimes see. So once Batrider gets more skill points, his potential power level is going to go up a lot higher, whereas 3-3 is going to have to skill more points in Soul Assumption. The skill does scale okay, but I can't help but think that at least before 6, that Batrider has a lot more kill potential on Visage than the other way around.
I've never heard anybody explain a power, like you said, between levels 2 and 6, he's going to have to... that's quite a big range. That's basically the whole laning stage. Right?
It is not, because level 1, you're just way stronger on Visage, because Soul Assumption's a god tier spell, right? It does like a huge amount of damage.
As we're
it's
seeing
like 230
again.
damage for 1 skill point. So, yeah. Once they get past 2 and Batrider has like a flame break to play with and more damage sources and things like that and lots of napalm, it definitely changes the lane a bit. But once they hit 6 on 3-3, then he's got familiars, and that's different again, because then your Grave Chill actually does something instead of makes your hero attack faster, which is kind of useless.
Yeah,
or at least slightly useless.
Yep, very true. And you can see 9 in the mid lane, 22-2 versus the 32-6 of Boom. Of course, a lot of these are neutral creeps. So, I mean, if we actually look at the net worth, then it's pretty much, it's like a 200 gold advantage for Puck. So not anything major yet, but good start for Boom, who, I mean, last game, I think he started off relatively well, but then got caught off guard early on, like mid laning stage, I want to say, and that kind of ruined his game. As you can see the Starbreaker connect fully onto 33, has the Soul Assumption. He uses it on Ace before he dies, as Ace, that last right click from Soxa is enough, so it's a trade of both respective position 3s.
And that's 2 games in a row now that Sox has gone tree grab. Again, a lot of Tinies just skip that ability, and they say, screw it, I want as many points in Avalanche and Toss as possible to upgrade my damage and everything, but that slow got him the kill there.
Yeah, top lane, a good rotation from Boom, a good sleep setup from Celery. That's the first coil of the game, as they are able to clean up Skeeter relatively easily. And this is Skeeter last game on the Bloodseeker did not get, I felt like, pushed out of lane at any point in the laning stage. So this is a much better start for Gaimin for game number 2.
Yeah, this one's very different, actually. In some ways, maybe this is what was so cool about the Gladiators draft, that they had Puck first phase. They picked Batrider, and their opponents say, okay, we'll pick Void to counter it. But then they're like, oh shit, Puck counters Void really good for quite a long period of time. That's why that rotation was so powerful. Dream Coil against Faces Void is going to be really, really nasty to deal with for Skeeter. So if they get a lot of successful rotations against him, it really could upend the tempo of the game in a big way.
Well, I'm interested in what Skeeter's going to go on the Faceless Void. It's going to be the Mask of Madness to start, but do you have like I don't think there's a cookie cutter build for Void in general. There's like 2 or 3 builds I want to say, but is there something in specific you want to see?
Maelstrom is pretty darn normal at this point, just because it's the cheaper Battle Fury. It just gets you farming a little bit faster. You don't necessarily want the cleave that much these days anyways. It's just an expensive item. So yeah, Mask of Madness, Maelstrom. I've seen some games maybe where they shy away from going for the Maelstrom build, maybe if they're behind, but if Skeeter's having a remotely normal game, he'll probably go that. Once in a while you see a Midas. If they're struggling and need to catch up, for example, then maybe they shave off the Maelstrom. But yeah, that's usually the mix items you pick up.
All right, 9 actually cursed Boom in the mid lane, but I think it was a bit of a mistimed Avatos, not able to get the full damage while that curse was mitigating a lot of it. So Boom lives, and that's a pretty big cooldown in that curse being down. Is Soxa now transitioning back to the bot lane.
Ward. As a fresh ward, he just got in the mid lane, very important.
Juicy.
Yeah, I mean, losing Winter's Curse is not the end of the world. It would have been really nice for 9, obviously, to get a kill. But it's not exactly like an ability that's super, super easy to take to a lane and pick up a kill on a side laner. Speaking of side laning, though, 3-3 kind of feeling zoned from the lane now. Batrider's kind of controlling it. He's got Boots, Windlace, 3 points Napalm, 2 Firefly, and he doesn't quite have 6. Again, once he has 6, he can actually contest the lane against Batrider, but for now, 3-3 definitely struggling.
Perch, can you do me a favor, and next time there's a nice play and you're describing it, can you just describe it as a juicy play?
Yeah,
okay. All right. I'd really love to hear the deadpan delivery.
It's a juicy last hit we just saw.
I don't know why. It's
there's another juicy last hit.
Just this monotone delivery is so good, actually. I wish I could pull that off. Unfortunately, don't have the skill that you do in the ASMR department. You can see the coil only onto the Tiny right now as Celery gets off the brain step. He's horribly outnumbered, and we were brought down pretty swiftly here. 15 seconds on the deck for him. And
good rotations. They needed to cover him at there were some of the water runes they weren't able to get there to help 9 out, so rotating in now is great for him because he does need the Witchblade probably to be really nasty in terms of ganks.
33, he's got those familiars online now. He's just gonna harass the crap out of Ace, get a couple nice stuns. Soxa's coming in from the other side as well, but the Firefly still has a quite big duration left. Snake King is here as well with a Thunderbolt to try to get some vision, but looks like Ace is going to dodge everything outright, so nicely done from him. But now pressure onto the tier 1.
Yep, ran absolute max distance, so the rotation doesn't work. The supports are getting a little underleveled on the Tundra side. That could hurt them, certainly. Tiny, probably not too worried about it, but for Zeus it can matter, definitely. Once he gets 6 and starts stealing some kills, maybe it'll change things up. Skeeter is able to pick up his Morbid Mask now, which is a very juicy item, and he's going to use that to jungle now.
God, that sounds so good. It really suits you well. You should put that make that part of your brand going forward, I think.
My vernacular, yeah. I'll add that into the old lexicon.
Sounds good. As we're trying to pressure this tier 1 tower, but it's not going to be. And then top lane we saw slight smoke, but Boom not able to find anybody in the end. Has his coil available and Skeeter into the trees. And
he's hanging out.
Yeah.
He might go for a chrono.
Yeah, it is possible. They can TP into this tier 1 as Duraccio is now forcing the fortification. He's level 8 right now, top net worth in the game, has the armlet, which is about 2 minutes faster than the average, which you saw in that stat. So he's having himself a great start to this game.
Yeah, kind of interesting that Skeeter played top. Maybe he knows that if he goes into the jungle that he's also going to get pressured and ganked. So this was a nice midway point. He hangs out top in case their team sees an opportunity to fight. But if not, whatever. He doesn't lose that much ultimately. So a little tougher of a time for him. His network's not the greatest. But it is still a good hero for him. And they have a good moment to potentially dive and pressure mid tier 1 as well.
Yeah, you can see the 2-level advantage right now between the position 1s. So this kind of switch up of lanes has really worked out well for Gaimin Gladiators, at least from that department. And I mean, I assume after the armlet and phase boots, we're going to see probably a blink, maybe a fast BKB. But considering they don't really have a blink hero, I mean, they have Puck, but I'm not sure how fast he wants to go for it.
It'll probably be the Deso build. Minus armor is actually quite good against Face's Void in almost all cases because he doesn't build that many agility items and he lowers his armor. So it's actually that part of the matchup is really good for the Wraith King versus the Void. Almost all Deso builds beat him, at least in the mid game. So and it's also quite good against Zeus too. And so if he goes like Blink Deso like the normal Wraith King build, this could be a really good game for Dyrachyo.
Yeah, you can see Skeeter still not able to finish the Mask of Madness as of yet. It'll still be a couple hundred away. So he has been, his growth has been stinted, to say the least. Stunted. Man, my vocabulary today is just awful.
Isn't there like a heart stint or something? Is that like a medical term?
Yeah, I'm probably just thinking about my heart attack in the future. I'll need that as 9 in the jungle now, has his Witchblade. And we'll see how they want to play this. I mean, we talked about it last game, how these BKBs kind of line up for both teams. And, I mean, from this side, like, Wyvern doesn't buy BKB. This is a position 4 Tiny. Visage doesn't buy BKB. It's really just the Void. As the hammer with the coil combo is enough to take out Soxa. But on the other side, Celery gets taken out by 9. So support for support. Oh, Skeeter just barely the Chronosphere on the tip, as they say, the curse to follow. And the Solar Guardian is coming in. It's not quite enough to save. Boom. So a good kill for Tundra. As Ace is coming in, though, has the Firefly available, and the curse being down already means that 9 is likely to die. And I think that's actually the first lasso we've seen all game, which from Batrider perspective is not... I mean, he's obviously got...
It's fine.
He got stunted in his lane.
He did. No, he's been doing really good, actually. So maybe it's the first lasso, but it's not exactly like an indication of like the hero being played bad or anything. The only person that made a major mistake there was probably 9 getting overly aggressive across the river there. Their kill mid was great. Rotation from Skeeter there to get the Chronosphere. 9 didn't have Arctic Burn in this moment because he'd used it to kill Bane. So actually getting this kill took a little more effort than expected, but it was a nice play. By him to get it. He stayed way too long across the river.
If that Solar Guardian came in like a second earlier, he might have lived. That was really close. But they do get the turnaround kill on the 9, so it's not going to be as favorable as it was last game at the very least. It's 33. He's going to get caught out in the bot lane. And snaking. Oh, the grip is just in range, but the instant cancel from Soxa. Doesn't look like Boom wants to dive any further, but Gaimin Gladiators with a 1K lead. And
he's
they're looking more like
from diving.
What's that?
He's learned his lesson from diving Zeus's in the last game.
Yes.
A little bit dangerous.
That is true.
But yeah, caught him with the grip, but the instant avalanche interruption makes it a bit of a bummer. But game's still very even. Dyrachyo's still on top. He's building towards Deso now. His ability to kill towers is going to be very powerful. He only needs one more Mythical Hammer and he'll have it. He's going to TP towards the top lane to go farm that out.
So 9 obviously has the Witchblade like we talked about. He's going for Boots of Travel next. And he actually has Ags queued up. So I was talking some shit about this. When I said it was nerfed, it was like a year ago. It was when everybody was buying it like all the time. And then I can't remember what the exact nerf was.
I don't think they nerfed the Ags. I think they nerfed Wyvern ulti is what happened. Because they nerfed the ulti so that it doesn't do full duration unless you have enemies near you. Or, when you ulti somebody, he has to have creeps or heroes near him to make the full duration. Because before, you could basically just solo kill anybody with Orchid. because you just ulti them, you do your full combo, you kill the one guy, and he's stunned for 4.5 to 5 seconds. You know, it's a huge amount of stun duration. Now it only being halved or whatever is you can't get solo kills as reliably, so you can't snowball as hard. But he's basically playing it the same way he used to. Witchblade, Boots of Travel increases movement speed, then he buys Ags. Ags increases your movement speed by 25%, so it's amazing with BOTs. And then he gets to play like tree lines and get these solo pickoffs. Just, he won't be able to rely on his ulti quite as much.
Celery is going to get some backup here from Dyrachyo. Gets off the Wraithfire Blast. Snake King getting some nice vision with the Thunder Gods. And that's just going to break things up. Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think it was a direct nerf, now that I think about it, to the Ags itself. Is we're going to see the Avatos, but the stun coming out from Tofu and the heal. Nice. Starbreaker on top. Soxa is dead. And there's the coil. And remember, this is a position 2 Wyvern, so a very nice kill and juicy, as Purge would say, onto 9, but they're not able to find him yet because Skeeter's in the area. He gets off that Chronosphere, but he gets his teammate inside as well. And Flame Break brings 9 back out, but he's going to tick down finally to the Flame Break. Lasso onto Skeeter. He's going to time-lapse a lot of that away as Boom now on the run, but the right clicks will be enough. So in the end, it's a 2-for-1 as Ace. And the drums are popped. Soul Assumption to follow. Sleep onto one of the Gargoyles. Flame Break to follow, but Ace with that Soul Assumption. Nice turnaround kill from Tundra, but 2-for-2. And
Shannon, did you see that juicy Chronosphere?
I did. It was
very good.
It was very juicy.
I mean, 9 was pretty much screwed no matter what, so maybe it like made it easier for him to die or whatever. Great Solar Guardian. I haven't seen like an amazing turnaround play with Dawnbreaker in a bit. Feels like the hero's ulti has been a little bit less effective, but that one was like absolutely perfect. You get that 4 position kill, you get to turn on 9, and yeah, he had to get Chronosphere potentially, but it was a good jump to save him a little bit here.
I mean, to be fair, if he doesn't chrono him here, he lives. So he did actually get him killed.
But that's okay. Almost worked out and got the puck killed at the start, but just took a little bit of doing. They eventually work him down.
Yeah, and I will say, getting off a good chrono before you have Shard can be pretty difficult, or somebody else to help you initiate, which in that case, he just kind of waddled in and still found a decent Chronosphere in the end.
Yeah, that's really true. It is difficult against these good players. They're always going to react well. Nightmare on Zeus, though.
Yep, Ace. Oh,
no grip.
Grip comes off.
I meant the lasso.
And
they got the grip.
Yep, they got grip number 1, grip number 2 ready to go. As Dyrachyo getting off that Wraithfire Blast on a Soxa. He will live through this engagement and will TP out.
Okay. Does have the Deso on the Wraith King, so they got to be really careful about getting close to the enemies at this point. Once he gets Blink, it's going to be easier for him to do his jumps, but when Wyvern got the Grove Bow, oh, that is so good. That's actually so good.
That is a good one.
He's going to amplify all his magic damage by 15% here against his opponents, and that's Witchblade damage, that's Arctic Burn damage, that's Splinter Blast damage, and the attack speed and the attack range. It's so good.
But you do replace it if you get Witchbane next, right?
Why?
Isn't Witchbane really good on that hero?
Is that the attack speed percentage base damage? Yeah. Is Witchbane really good on the hero? I guess so. Yeah.
It's very good.
It's not like really good. It's about the target, not how much mana you have. Is that what you mean?
Witchbane's good. Like okay? Purge.
It is. But
it's good on Wyvern.
Legit might keep Growbow.
Right,
like the replacement to Growbow is like Quiver. If he gets a Quiver, sure, he might swap it out.
Ice Frog's watching. Maybe. He's gonna put Witchbane in. Okay, and we're gonna see.
Witchbane's only good against like Puck this game, basically, and maybe like Batrider a bit.
It's very good.
Everybody else doesn't have that much.
And we're gonna see a smoke now from Tundra, as we can all agree that I'm correct here.
Witchbane is not juicy.
Oh, we're going to see the Avatos from Soxa, and that's going to be a super quick kill on the setter, who's going to be more than happy to tank that gank. But the Wraith. Yes.
Oh, he's going to go try for Killbot.
Okay.
All right, here's the combo.
Yep. The juice is coming. The curse. This is just going to be a solo kill from 9. He's doing a lot of damage, and you can see they Soxa tried to steal with the Avalanche, but not to be this time.
Yep, that's why they put this ward in the lane like this, because this gives 9 opportunities. This is how he abused the playstyle originally when he used to play it. He played these side lanes, he flies into trees, he gets a Winter's Curse off in you, and yeah, he gets a solo kill with all that single target damage. So Really nice pick off. That's going to take Tofu's ultimate out of the game for another 12 seconds. But the game has been a little bit passive, certainly for Tundra. But this is just because of the nature that Faceless Void does need time to catch up on net worth. He will be a stronger carry in the ultra late game than Wraith King, but...
Yep, Stoxa's going to tank this gank. This time, obviously, Gaimin Gladiators getting their smoke off.
Yep, we'll slow down mid a little bit here. And he's got to be careful. He doesn't have Shard yet.
Yeah, and I mean, if they can get this tier 1 tower in the near future and just get a pick off, then Gaimin Gladiator can really take Roche extremely fast thanks to the Wraith King. While Tundra, not so much, because like you said, Void takes a while to get online. But, I mean, I think they're not super disappointed with how the game's going. Even though they're down 2K, for some reason, it feels like this is going to go into the late game, where Void would be potentially favored.
Yeah. It definitely will. I mean, the game looks different than the previous one because Tundra was able to pressure so well, but their heroes are not quite the same. Kind of a cool skill build from Skeeter, actually. He's left his Chronosphere at 1 point. Little scouting here.
Yep, the curse again. 9. And Tofu looks to be mega dead. Avalanche this time will get the kill for Stoxa. As Doraccio. All right, this is a nice nice pick off for Gaimin.
He got it.
Oh my god, he actually does get it off. They're going to try to go for the Gargos in the meantime. He heals up to a decent amount, but you see the rest of his team not really interested, so he dies anyway. But that is a really good shard.
Yeah, it's perfect for what Visage needs, you know, because when you get focused, you lose your armor right away, and then you are going to die, so being able to reset that by going to a stone farm and healing on top of it is a really cool option. But yeah, they're going to be able to take Roche most likely.
Yep, you can see Stoxa in the area, but Ace has an idea that this is happening, so going to be able to traverse the terrain and actually going for the kill onto Stoxa, but he gets the blink off.
Good blink.
And I mean, Ace is pretty speedy. Boom with the illusory orb. Can they juke? Looks like he might.
That vision is very short.
Yeah.
So it's difficult for him to find him without puck.
And while this is happening, Aegis is going to be taken for Doraccio in all likelihood. And by that I mean boom, of course.
It was a good chase. That he legit almost kept finding Stoxa, but yeah, Aegis gets grabbed. Great for Boom. That way, if he makes any mistakes when initiating, he can keep going. He can get Chronosphered as well and be able to play on to the fight. That's really good. He can get Winter's Cursed. So going to be a lot harder for him to get taken out in the next fight. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Tundra be a little bit careful.
Yeah.
They're still going to go for their little picks here and there. Stoxa and 3-3 currently smoked, but I think they're looking for some support type hero, if possible.
Yeah, 9 now has his Aghanim Scepter, so he can stay in Arctic Burn form for as long as he wants, or as long as his mana can keep it up. How much is that per second? It's 20 mana per second, so...
That's not bad.
Mana capacity of 1,600 right now, and it looks like he's going for a Lincoln Sphere, so that kind of kills a couple birds with that stone. Stoxa.
Yep. Wouldn't have to worry about lasso.
Toss Avalanche, Celery's dead. Feels like a lot of these position 5s are tanking these ganks today.
Yeah, but against all these summons and things, like there's nothing he can do with Bane to stop the chase.
He can get Shard.
He could AoE Brain Sap. Yeah, that's not going to do shit. The bats are basically invulnerable, so yeah, that would not give him a lot.
Oh, Avatos, but Doraccio's here with the Wraithfire Blast. I might have to reset this as the coil is used in a defensive measure, and that's the first life for the Wraith King. Boom, already at low HP. I think Gaimin Gladiators are going to try to run away, but the Solar Guardian coming in. But there's the Chrono, setting it up actually for the side of Tundra, focusing on Ace, and they're going to get that along with Tofu. As Gaimin now continuing on the run. Boom looks to be fine. I say that, but 9 is continuing to chase with this Aghanim Scepter, so that is just the Aegis. But now he's going to get horribly surrounded, but the Familiar's ready to stun. Oh, he actually dodges the Avalanche. Blink, Illusory Orb, and tossed back into the fray, but the Orb was still up. He jaunts to it, and the Nightmare actually dodging a little bit of damage. The phase shift again, but no Blink this time. And in the end, Snake King is able to net himself a very valuable kill, as you can see Celery just in a very sad state of affairs.
Oh, he wanted.
Yeah, a little bit cocky there, but 9 does find the kill in the end, and that is a big fight for Tundra. They take out the Aegis, full team wipe, and I don't think they lost anybody here. Wow.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, they engaged the entire fight perfectly. Like, they won on Soxa. Soxa easily survived with a super high armor. He's the one hero that Wraithen can't kill very easily. And then they layered the Winter's Curse.
Oh, Avatar, Soxa. The BKB keeps Ace alive a little bit longer, but he's just going to have to hightail it back to the fountain. And Tundra, well, they could focus on Dyrachyo. He doesn't have ult. He's just dead again. 50 seconds, no Wraith King.
Oh.
That's a set of racks at minimum. And this is all without Skeeter having a BKB, which is now being delivered. Yeah. Oh, okay. Backdoor is finally gotten through. That was a little awkward, but 5K lead just like that from Tundra. This is like an 8K reversal in the last minute.
Yeah, that was a huge fight for them. Truly juicy Chrono after the Winter's Curse. And that was all while Bat wasn't BKB'd, so I mean, that comes down to 9 going for the backline. Catching Bat, that's a lot of the team fight that Gladiators are looking for to like solidify their kills. Basically, it protects Void by getting that grab, among other things. So yeah, the BKB timing for Gladiators doesn't really get to be embraced, and their jump kind of sucked as well because all it went to was getting a Tiny to half health. Not going to be good enough.
Yeah, as we're going to see Ace already at low HP. Tofu healed him a bit with the Solar Guardian. These Solar Guardians just, and it's not Tofu's fault at all, but they just haven't felt impactful in this game. As we're going to see the siege onto the tier 3 bottom. This might be the last stand for Gaimin Gladiators in this series, potentially. 9, okay, Skeeter. He has the shard now, along with the BKB, so he can get off these initiations. Chrono now up.
Yeah, they can't push right now. 9 can't be there. Him and Ace had that little duel in the top lane. So, but he had to TP back to base to get full mana, and Ace was able to show up to the fight, so they'll just back temporarily. They're still pretty content with their current placement. They're just going to get more and more farm tier. Skeeter with his BKB now is much more capable to Chronosphere. Yeah, they'll just reset and recontrol the map. Their team fight is just so much better on the Tundra side from here on out, between like Chronosphere, and they've got Wraith Pact, and they've got Vision, and they've got Winter's Curse. Like, everything just looks really solid for their team.
Yeah, 9 is going towards the Orchid, which was talked about in the panel as well. And that Aghanim Scepter, a lot of times I feel like it comes out and you don't see the impact like immediately, because it feels like they still sometimes need a couple of items, or it doesn't really align with the other carry on the team. But this time around, it has felt extremely impactful.
The Enchanted Quiver, which one? The Eternal Dilemma.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one.
Do you want the Grow Bow? I actually think the Grow Bow's better this game. They're both really good, though. Yeah, he does give it away. Because 15% of all damage is an absolute shitload. Plus the 20 attack speed is really good also. Grow Bow is really good in a lot of other cases, though. Especially when you only attack once every 4 seconds. Ooh, they're going to go on Dyrachyo a little.
Yeah, Tundra do TP in mass, as an AC is now online for 33. Skeeter backtracks back. Okay. Has that Chronosphere available, could use it on his Winter Curse's target, which he will. Zones out the rest of the team, and that is a dead puck. Boom, dead, 60 seconds, does have buyback though. Big Avatos as Ace gets off the BKB, has to worry about the physical damage now, which ultimately spells doom for him. So a 3-for-0 as Gaimin Gladiators getting close to tapping out here.
Yeah, it was a tough one. That was Tofu's Ags on Dawnbreaker, which is supposed to help out decently well, but the problem is that it went on the backline. They didn't save the puck with it, basically. Puck got Winter's Cursed, and they layered Chrono on top of it to guarantee his death. So this was all 9 basically catching the puck here. The phase shift ended. He ends up getting with the Orchid and the ulti. They Chrono the backline, and yeah, Tofu's ultimate was over on the right. It was not really on the right target necessarily. If that was able to keep puck alive, I think the fight's very different, because then Chronosphere would have felt misused, but don't know what happened with the ulti there, but for some reason not able to keep puck alive. They placed it on the right instead. Maybe didn't anticipate the Chrono or something.
Yeah, and obviously with the Aghanims from Dawnbreaker gives you that extra evasion, so...
yeah, that would have been... And he has Locket too. Like, it actually... He definitely would have saved the puck, certainly.
Yeah, because the only thing that killed the puck there was the Wyvern right clicks. Like, they didn't even bother expending anything else.
No, well, there was like a lightning bolt and stuff, but it would have been enough to save him probably, yeah.
Yep, Skeeter jumping in. You can see the Nimbus is now online, as that is life number 1 Ace does get the kill on Soxa, though. Dyrachyo getting chased by Gargoyles. Like they'll reset as the number advantage is in favor of Gaimin Gladiators.
Yeah, +9 died in the enemy base. I missed that one, sorry. Whoops.
In the enemy base? Oh, yeah.
Yes, he died in the Gladiators base. Didn't see that one. Probably was trying to get kills. You know how it goes.
Yeah, cocky behavior.
He's queuing up the Bloodthorn next. That'll be a fun item. Let's here's the clip. Oh, he's like, I want to get a kill again. He's like, run! Yeah, then he got dream coiled. Okay.
Yeah, that's
nice punish there by Boom. That's super important.
Little
that was a lot of
overextension.
damage. I'm surprised Puck was able to solo kill him, but he's got Kaya Sanj and a ceremonial robe, so.
Celery getting scouted out. Nightmare's going to save him from 1 stun, but the Soul Assumption finishes him off from 33.
There's like nothing he can do against a Visage. I feel so bad.
Look at these items on him. AC, Boots of Bearing, Wraith Pact, Visage. Mr. 33 is mega farmed.
And he's got 2 more slots completely empty. He can buy like anything. They're very ready to play. How come nobody ever buys Wraith Pact and Wraith Band, Suns fan?
That's true. You need all the Wraiths to combine. What if you had 3 Wraith Bands with a Wraith Pact, and then at 25 minutes, your Wraith Pact doubles in efficiency because you have 3 Wraith Bands? It makes sense.
That sounds really
balanced.
Right? Then the aura would reduce enemy damage by 60%. Yeah, that sounds really fair.
Yeah, that sounds good
like
to me. Everybody loves the damage reduction strats these days. As into the pit Tundra goes, there is a smoke from Gaimin Gladiators, and they have scouted this out.
He found 9.
Yeah, they're going to try to go for this, but Ace pops the BKB. And Skeeter looking for a potential Chrono target, but Zeus is going to be the first to fall, but buys back into the game. But there's the Curse and the Chronosphere. You can see the Solar Guardian doing a decent amount with the evasion, but it's just not enough. Boom is dead. No buyback for him, so this turns into a 5v3 situation for Tundra as they look to finish off game number 2. Lasso does come out, though. On to 9. He's getting extremely low, but somehow surviving, keeps himself alive now. And Dyrachyo looks to be the last to fall as an ultra kill for Skeeter. There are several buybacks from Gaimin Gladiators, but this could be the end of their run here as GGs do come out. So 2-0 Tundra, which means we're going to have a lower bracket tiebreaker between Goon Squad and Gaimin Gladiators to see who gets relegated with Alliance.
And not the place that Gaimin Gladiators wants to be, but at least they know that their chance to go into TI are still pretty high this season. But yeah, do not want to get relegated here if they can help it. But they had a great attempt at that last team fight. They approached Tundra from a weird angle. He almost caught 9. He was very close. If he catches 9, I'm invisible this time, can't block me, sucker. Because he doesn't get lassoed, then Wyvern gets to play a real fight. But if he gets that lasso off and pulls him into the Gladiators team, might have been a very different engagement. But Tofu's ulti was used perfectly that time, but wasn't quite enough.
Very sad. Just like James Webb Telescope, you see the abyss behind me. The beautiful abyss. The juicy abyss that some great analysts would describe it as. But that is the end of game number 2, and the series is over, actually, as Gaimin Gladiators will be in the tiebreakers now. The music has stopped.